What up, Rob? Me and my big homie Rob and Mike right quick. Oh, sister Black Native. What up, Black Native? Peace.
So what it is, big bro, what it is, man. I see your boy Derek.
What you said, Shade? I think you broke up. What happened? I think you broke up, Shade, if you hear me.
You got me, big bro?
All right, yeah, what you said?
Yes, sir. I see Cologne didn't show up, man. That's your fault. I'm blaming you, okay?
So
I'm
what?
blaming no, I'm playing.
Yeah, so what? He wasn't supposed to come. Shit.
Nah, he wasn't gonna come. He wasn't gonna come before anything was said, to be honest with you. Because, it's a lot of fallacies that were cleaned up, and what I truly liked about the whole movie in a nutshell was he broke down all the different elements of hip hop. A lot of people just think of rapping. You know, that's not the only element of hip hop. Excuse me, of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like you have DJing, you have the fashion, you have dancing, you have graffiti. All of those different elements make up what we call hip hop. So to say that one man such as Cool Herc created that, that would be a total lie. Okay, that's like saying one man created, you know, um, fucking a vehicle. One man created a car. That's just not the truth. So I'm glad that we could put some truth out there. Whoever likes it, it is what it is. I mean, we have to tell the truth on these things. A lot of people made a lot of additions to the world that we know today, but a lot of people didn't. And you're not going to claim something that you did not make a difference to. So shout out to the brother, Flex, for doing that. Standing on truth and not being afraid to put out what's real about the what I feel is the most powerful genre of music that's on earth today. Because again, with hip hop, I don't think there's any. I don't give a fuck how much Taylor Swift sells or whatever the case is. But when you're talking about hip hop, there's only one genre of music that they use and they mimic and they copy all over the world, and that genre of music was created by disenfranchised people, people that were not giving much, people not just the Bronx. You know what I mean? That really came from us as a culture. Because if it just came from some mixture of quote unquote blacks and Puerto Ricans in the Bronx, then why are they able to mimic it in Houston? Why are they able to mimic it and create their own version of it in Oakland? Oakland hip hop does not sound like New York hip hop. So that lets you know it's more of a cultural thing with us. It's not necessarily, oh, a regional thing. It's not a New York thing. It's not a, the Bronx or Brooklyn. No, it ain't really nothing to do with that. It really comes from us as a people. And that's why we're all able to add our own flavor in it. I'll give you another analogy. My, let's say my mom, or no, I can't use you, Racer. You from South Carolina, but let's say my brother Cash. Let's say I'm gonna just use you as an example, Cash. Okay, let's say if you're people from Mississippi, right? And my people from North Carolina. Now, our potato salad may not taste exactly the same, though they may both be very tasty. It may not taste the same. You might add a different ingredient where I would add like less salt, for example. Let's say we'll add less salt than you'll add. So it'll taste a little different. It's the same thing, but it'll just taste a little different. I think hip hop is like that. The Bay hip hop, the Bay rapping, the Bay's form of music does not sound like Brooklyn. And that's what I love about hip hop. You know what I mean? You go across the nation and shit is just different, bro. But it's so unique to the area. The way they dress, their style of talking, everything is unique to that area. And I don't see no area in Puerto Rico or in Jamaica where they have a place that people are hip hop. People dress, act, and create hip hop. And if again, I want to say this in closing. Jamaicans and Puerto Ricans created this form of music that we call hip hop. Hip hop makes more money than reggae and reggaeton combined. So why in the hell aren't they still doing it down there? If it's very profitable, so why aren't you doing it? You understand? So again, if that was the case, shout out to Lord Jamar. Like he said, we wouldn't say that was fat. We would say that's caliente or that's hot. There would be remnants of the Puerto Ricans even today in hip hop. We say yo that shit is hot. That shit is fat. We don't say that shit is caliente. So again, no, we had to clear up the lies, and shout out to Tariq for standing on business and clearing up the lies. And with that, I'm a land.
Yeah, Black Native. What's up, sister?
Hey, good morning. Did you go to the premiere?
Yes, ma'am.
I saw it was a packed house.
Yes, ma'am. It was. Me
Did
and
you have
Shady.
any Puerto
Me and
Ricans
brother
in
Shady
there?
right here was there. Me and him was there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Did you see any Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans up in the spot?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
What was their reaction?
They had to either.
Okay, can I explain something about this whole Puerto Rican
Go ahead, Sage.
conversation
Go ahead,
thing in New
Sage.
York, bro? Because I know a lot of y'all are not from up here in New York. Y'all
Well,
get the
Sister
I'm
Black
short.
from
Native is.
Brooklyn.
Sister Black Native
Oh,
is.
oh, no, 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 not you.
That's
Then
why
I
I'm
ain't talk. Then
asking.
I ain't
But
talking about you, Black Native, because you gonna understand and know what I'm saying. A lot of people from like down south or out west, they think that these niggas really hold weight. They don't. Don't believe
yeah,
that
they
little sour
don't.
posse. Oh, these niggas gonna hurt y'all. Ain't none of that shit gonna happen. Listen, they're not like that. Okay, they're just not. They get regulated up here all the time. So if those Puerto Ricans, when they did come, um, and it wasn't that many that I seen in our show. It's in the first one. I know you went to both, but it wasn't that much in the first one. But the ones that did come, you know, they fell in line. They didn't talk out of turn. It wasn't none of that energy that they have on these spaces. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Right. They tried to come through the back door, literally, and steal our culture from under our feet. I'm from Brooklyn. And I remember we used to have the jams. We used to have the block parties. One of my first boyfriend, the first guy I ever dated, was one of the top DJs in Brooklyn, and he used to battle. No Puerto Ricans was on no turntables. No Puerto Ricans was out there rapping. You might have seen them break dancing very rarely or pop blocking. This is all our culture. And they thought they were going to come in from the back door, slide in just because they were admirers. They used to be in the crowd. And it wasn't even a lot of them in the crowd. I had just got a call. Majority of the people that used to be at the jams where they would take and plug the shit into the light poles and everybody be like, yo, it's a jam. Or the block party when they would shut down the whole damn blocks and they had the turntables and everybody was out there. Wasn't no fucking Puerto Ricans out there. And it wasn't no Jamaicans out there. These people was I remember Shaba came out, Patra, that was they shit. Okay, and the Puerto Ricans was still playing Marengo and whatever music they was playing inside their house. So for them to come and try to lie, and people from New York, we know what time it was. I don't understand. They talking about that you was there, you was a onlooker, you was an admirer, but you didn't create shit. And I'm so glad that Tariq came out and dispelled this myth. And I just saw something. Fat Joe is in financial ruins right now. So they say he owes the IRS or something close to $25 million. So,
Again.
so could this be the reason that now all of a sudden he's trying to corner hip hop? He didn't even come out into the 90s. I was up here arguing with somebody. The only person I said, name a hip hop group that was Puerto Rican or Jamaican. Name a rapper from the 80s into the early 90s. Somebody said Prince Marky D. Prince Marky D, nobody even knew he was Puerto Rican. We thought he was just a light skinned black dude from East New York.
And then not only that,
He
real
didn't
quick, Black Native,
represent himself
real
as
quick,
a Puerto Rican.
sister. Hold, let me bring that home for you too. And he also grew up on the black side of East New York, because
Yeah.
East New York is split like Bushwick is. You
Hmm.
know, they got a Puerto Rican side and the black side.
Hmm.
He was on the black side of East New York.
Yeah, I used to hang in East New York. I know. I'm from Brooklyn. You had Brownsville, East New York, and he used to hang. And the two dudes that was with him were black. Nobody knew. And then when I moved to Queens, he had a barber shop called Mr. Rooney's. Nobody knew he was Hispanic. I just found that out what a week ago when they put his name up. That's who's that Prince Marky D. His last name is Morales
Morales.
or something, but nobody never knew he was Hispanic. He never spoke Spanish. Everybody thought he was just light skinned. So that's the only one you had. Where's all these other so-called innovators? Where's all these so-called? I said, but where's the groups? Where are these people at? Because they don't exist. They were not. They were there, but they weren't. They weren't the DJs. They weren't. Look, we got too many videos. We got Curtis Blow Rock. We got too many different groups. But y'all supposed to be the innovators, right? Y'all supposed to be the creators or have something to do with it. Where were the groups at? I mentioned I had got on when I spoke with when Tariq had did his last space. We even had some white boys come out before the Hispanic, the what was the Beastie Boys. You know what I'm saying? They came out kind of in like the early to mid 80s. They even came out as a group before a Hispanic group came out. You had Lisa in the Co Jam. She wasn't no rapper, but look who was behind them. They always had black people. So we ain't gonna play these games. And I'm so glad he did what he did, and I'm so glad it was a packed house to show like, nah, you're not gonna steal our culture, not today. And I land on that.
Queen, can I ask you a question? And Racer, you too, because I know both of us, all of us are from New York. Am I lying when I say that this is a fairly new dynamic when you have a lot of these people coming out now stating that they're Jamaican or that they're Puerto Rican? Of course, we knew Fat Joe was Puerto Rican, but no one really knew. Busta Rhymes didn't stand on I'm Jamaican back in 1995. You know, that was not something that he really stood on to the point where, you know, he was like, okay, yeah, I'm Jamaican and we created this and we did that. That's something that's fairly new. And I blame us for that, to be honest with you, because we're moving the culture forward and delineating very strongly. So people are clinging on to, you know, I guess whatever type of nationality and ethnicity that they do have. But this is not something that was going on when Tupac was walking around this motherfucker. You know, again, he rode the coattails, for example, Busta Rhymes. He rode the coattails of a Tribe Called Quest. But I do want you, Black Native, if you can you break down, because a lot of people get this whole melting pot thing mixed up. Can you break down, or you could do it, Racer, break down how segregated, like truly segregated New York is along ethnic lines?
I can. I grew up in around Italians in Bensonhurst. I don't know if you from Brooklyn. I don't know what part of New York you from. So you had the Italians. They had their own community. The Jewish had their own community. The Irish had their own community. Black Americans had our own community, and then they dropped Jamaicans. They were like the first really to come in heavy into the Black American community. And we were going to war with these folks for years. It was like actual murders, killings, and then the Haitians, they dropped them off second. The Africans was the last batch. The Asians had their own community. New York is so segregated. It's more segregated in New York than it is in the South. Let's just keep it all the way real, because I live in the South, and I've been living in the South for quite some time. And so yeah, each at Sunset Park, the Hispanics lived over there. Brighton, that was the I think that was the Russians. Bensonhurst was the Italians. Sheepshead Bay was where the Irish lived at. This is in Brooklyn. Crown Heights was where the Jews lived at. East New York, you had this Hispanic section. Brownsville was where the black people lived at, the black Americans. Bedford Stuyvesant is where the black Americans lived at. Flatbush was where the black Americans moved at, but then the Jamaicans came and moved in and took that shit over. So yeah, it's very segregated. Very segregated.
So my old stomping grounds is Bed-Stuy, specifically Chauncey Street.
My
Um,
mother was born and raised in Bedford Stuyvesant when it was
that's
all
dope.
black in the brownstone houses.
Oh yeah, it's not black no more. Bed-Stuy is not black no more. But thank you again, because people don't really understand. They hear this whole phrase of a melting pot and they think that's what New York is, but you just went through Brooklyn alone. Now imagine you going through the Bronx and talking about the segregation over there between ethnic lines. Again, we don't live next to Caribbeans today in Brooklyn. We truly don't. Um, Foundationals mostly live like, you know, well, we still have some in Bed-Stuy, but there's not really like a stronghold. But when you have like,
You broke up, Shays. Hold up, Shays. I'm gonna give you a second. I'm gonna give you a second to get your mic together, and I'm gonna let the champagne go because he kind of been waiting. Yeah, champagne.
Nah, it's all good. You can hear me.
Yeah, you good to go, brother. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm from Houston, so I ain't even really watched the movie yet or nothing like that. But what I was gonna ask the family, man, how was it with the other than that, like the Puerto Ricans and stuff like that? How did they take it? Because I want to
Well,
know that.
what was interesting? Like, all right. Well, I experienced actually like when I was walking, and Brother Sage remember this because we was in the movie theater together. When I was going to my car, and Sage was holding a spot for me. But as I was walking to go get my car, there was a Puerto Rican couple who had just left the movie, and it seemed like they were conflicted. Like, well, they was trying to in other words, from the conversation I heard them had amongst each other while I was walking to my car, it seemed like they were trying to find an angle because, like I said, that movie totally dispelled all lies. So it
Mm,
seemed like amongst their conversation, they were still trying to find an angle. Like, well, we had to fit in somewhere. That's where it
yeah,
seemed like they were coming from amongst their conversation as I'm eavesdropping.
yeah, okay. See, that's what I had wanted to know. Cause like I say, I'm from Houston, so we ain't had no screening down here. But I just wanted to see how all the other people was taking it. You know what I'm saying? Were they hostile about it, or they was confused, or what was going on? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Because
you know, ain't nobody gonna play them games in New York.
okay,
Once again, like, it ain't gonna happen. And to Brother Sage's point, I don't know if you caught that. Like he said, these when it comes to us, and still to this day, I don't care how many of them they are. They don't hold no weight.
yeah,
I actually had a debate with somebody on a social level because he's a Haitian dude. And then
mm,
he tried to tell me about how Haitians do this. I said, yo, listen, name one Haitian gangster coming out of New York City outside of Haitian Jack. And Haitian Jack ran with black Americans. You name one. Can't name
mm,
one. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? The closest they
that's
got is
true.
maybe John Forte, but people know his story, who he was working for. So they a lot of them you might hear about crews that they have, but you never have that one. And and when it comes to FBAs in the city, we all got. I could go through a list of names of guys, but that's not really my style. But the
Yeah,
point I'm making is that they hold absolutely no weight. So them knowing coming to that particular space while we're gathering, not to play that game, and just to be more in depth about what I'm saying. This is why when you see a lot of these so-called YouTubers or streamers or whatever them like the Seikos and all of them running
yeah,
around New York City saying nigga out in the open and all this old stupid shit that they like to do. They do that shit in Manhattan. They know not to play
mm.
that game in Harlem. They know not to go in parts of Brooklyn and Bed-Stuy crowds and play them games because they'll get their neck cracked.
Man, see, that's what I was on. Cause when I do be coming up there to New York, cause my baby mama from up that way or whatever. So I was like, man, every time I come up there, I be in Manhattan around like 125th Street now. Let it be a bunch of Africans around there, man. I'm telling you, every time I go there and I just open my mouth, they be looking at me crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, God damn. They just be trying. I don't know how they be acting up there. So that's what I was wondering. Like, man, I wonder how did they act in New York
No,
and
even
how
them.
did
They
they take.
even them. Because even the Africans don't. Because don't get me wrong. They there's a lot of them in Harlem, and they've been there for a good minute. Especially like over there
Yeah,
off for like 110, 110 between 110, 115th in
yeah,
that area.
25th and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So cause so just let me just give you the rundown on that real quick, so you'll understand what's going on now up here. They we all know across this country they're trying to replace us in all of these major cities. So what
Mm-hmm.
they're doing in Harlem particularly, they're using the Africans to replace us so they can keep the aesthetic of saying Harlem is still black when you address the fact that black Americans ain't in Harlem no more. So
Oh, okay.
on an international scale, on a national scale, they want the aesthetic to still seem black, but have Africans there so they can still make the replacement. So that's
Oh,
what's going on now.
okay.
But so Harlem is damn near gentrified. We got like sections in Harlem now, like 100 when you go 125th Street between 125th and 135th, and it's segregated to the Avs. Like we on Lenox, we on 7th, we on 8th, we on 9th. When we start
Okay.
running up and down Madison and all of that, especially when you go down there 110th and all of that, that's when you're gonna start seeing the Africans and all of that. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay.
But if you
Well,
go to the
shit.
120s and up, especially on Lenox, especially on 7th, especially on 10th, Amsterdam, you're going to see us.
Hey, yo, I was just finna say I'm gonna let my mic go, man. I'm just sitting here listening to y'all, but I'm glad y'all here to dine and stood on business, man. That's what I had wanted to know. I was like, man, I hope my people holding it down and standing on business on there and ain't letting all them immigrants say this and say that. So I appreciate y'all for standing on business, man. I'm gone.
No, we
Appreciate
appreciate
it,
it, man.
man.
Can I
Hopefully,
say something? I saw Wyclef John had made a comment. I remember Wyclef John and his brother had moved into the projects I grew up in. And I remember, like, we remember when they came here. And you remember how Haitians used to dress, like flowers. They used to wear the women used to wear tube socks with sneakers
Fishnets.
and flip flops and all and sandals. They was corny. They was scared to come outside. So and then they moved out of the projects where
and they stayed in church, and they stayed in church.
they didn't associate with us at all. They was scary as fuck. And then he made a comment on I think hip hop. And I'm thinking to myself, I remember when y'all like kind of moved into the neighborhood, y'all never even really used to get up, come outside because they used to get bullied and beat up, him and his brother. So I'm just like, you a foreigner, like literally, like you were new to the culture. So it's just weird how they try to, once they get in, they're experts and they want to critique shit. But you was a foreigner, you couldn't speak no English, and that's just Wyclef Jean. So I just wanted to speak on him.
Yeah, that's real though, man. Like I say, I'm glad y'all stood on business for real, man. For real. Straight
Go ahead,
up.
Miss Ennis. You got it, sir.
Hey, shout out to you, RacerBo and all the family. Um, I think the problem is us telling the start of it. They really do feel left out, and so we're not saying anything about what you did after. But they need it for some reason. You can't be like, yeah, Black Americans started it. They can't say it, and so I saw a post of a guy talking about no props was given to Joe Conzo and stuff. And it's like, look, nigga, you know, um, just because he took pictures, and when he took pictures it was in the I don't know if it's a mid or whatever. They don't even state what they do and when they did it. You know what I'm saying? Like in our shit, we're gonna let you know we did it on this date or on this year in this month, in a month of, say, if we don't have the date, we're gonna say in a month of whatever. We're gonna state exactly our event because that's important to us, right? And so I went to start to go and just look at Joe's bios and stuff. It's vague, and you can, it's like, well, you missed me because you didn't say that I was there taking the pictures. Well, guess what? Other people took pictures, and you know who those other peoples were? Our cousins, our friends, and them pictures. Like, yo, shout out to y'all New Yorkers who was in those, the first party. There was a picture of the first party. That's not Joe Conzo, and we don't give credit to the person that actually took the picture because but you captured our history. And so the fact that now they really are really trying different angles. The Pan-African guy that actually came to the DC was like, yeah, I went to DC, yeah, and how the dance came from Africa, the dancing came from Africa, and then uh that couple that you heard, excuse me, that was talking about, yeah, where were we? We were there. Listen, it's okay. What they need to do is accept the fact that you are the first students of our of this genre. And once they can start to do that, instead of saying we was there 50-50, it'll be a lot better. And that goes for everything else that we have created here on this land. We created so much. And when y'all go and take it over, or just start doing it, then you say, well, we did it and we was there. No, you was observing us. Even listen, um some, whatever the post was, it had Joe Gonzo, some white lady, and some white director that did, I don't know, Beach Street, one of those movies, right? So you all heard about it, and then you researched it, And then you came out to take pictures and do things and do interviews on it because it's something you learned. No, 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 no. We didn't learn this shit. All of this has been inside us, passed down through generations. This is how we are, how we move. We always invent new shit. We always do new shit. We always make the shit that we make it pop. So they need to stop sitting up here trying to include themselves. Just take the L. Just take the L, or say, yeah, like keep with the whole contribution, but stop saying the origin, that you help with the origin of this, because these were young Black American kids. I land. Thank you.
They
Yeah,
were
so
window lickers, Miss Cal. They were the window lickers.
literally,
They were
Exactly.
there
literally.
watching.
Was sitting there window licking before they even got on stage to even sit on stage. Then they was a listener before they even got the courage to push the mic button, nigga. Stop it.
Well, hold on, but let me tell you something right now. I'm gonna let Sage go because Sister Black Native had made a point, and remember when they the closest thing that they did come to hip hop. I'm talking about Puerto Ricans collectively during the 80s and 90s. Remember they used to do like the techno shit. They make the music play. That type of that shit. They was fucking with that techno DJ shit.
Facts. You're not
That
lying. Why
that was
don't
they
they big
shit.
up that shit?
Yeah, that was they shit. They wasn't even fucking with the like straight up hip hop. They was fucking with like that techno EMI, what they call what's that? Yeah, EMI music now. They was fucking with the electronic music shit. They
Mu-
was fucking with that.
Motherfucking expose shit.
Like
It was
Lisa
them
and
bitches.
Nicole Jam. Remember that song? I want
Right.
you to
Even they sound is close to that.
that
Even when you listen to
song.
her, her sound is real close to that, almost that
It's
EMI shit. But
it's
she had
techno.
right, but she had fucking full force back then writing that shit for her, giving her that R&B flavor. But it still had a techno sound to it, which is was the shit that they was fucking with. Menudo, all of them. So no, and
That's
then
that
here's the
Lisa shit.
and no, and here's the rub, Miss Edison. I'm gonna let Sage go. Here's the rub, because remember, I'm younger than both of y'all, so I'm coming up in the next generation, and then even in my generation, being born in the mid '80s and coming up in the '90s and 2000s, when we would do talent shows, and I'm talking about elementary school and junior high, the Puerto Ricans wasn't sitting there performing no hip hop, no R&B, no funk, or none of that. They was sitting there coming on with that white linen suit with the red sash and the straw hat, and they was coming out there with maracas and congas and all that. They was doing that all the way up to the '90s. They was doing that. The Carib, the ones that was Caribbean and they do their talent shows, that shit used to have a cap on it because a lot of it was how can I say raunchy to a degree. So they couldn't come on there whining and all that shit. So they had to do a dance to like Sim Simmer or some shit. But they wasn't even fucking with hip hop like that. Only the Black American kids would get up and there. We'll do Run DMC, LL, Fat Boys, or some shit like that, all day, all night. Or one of the girls that could sing, she'll try to go perform in Vogue or something, or go or perform SWV or something like that. They didn't do that. So that even what I'm trying to say, they disdain for hip hop carried over even to as collectively carried over even into my generation. So for them to come out and say that they started it, and when you don't embrace it, it's a big lie and it's a slap in the face to have New Yorkers. This is what I was saying about Fat Joe and Busta Rhymes in them. When we hear that, speaking especially for a Sage and Black Native, when we hear that shit as New Yorkers, we know they're lying. When we hear Wyclef talk shit, we know they're lying. So that's real, the real fucking rub. And that was my issue with Cologne. I would give a person, especially if they not of the lineage, a break if they wasn't from New York saying that shit. But you from New York, you grew up in New York and at the time, so you know you fucking lying. That goes for all three of them, Pete Rock and the rest of them too. So no, that's where it stands on that gas, Sage.
I was just gonna say, look, y'all remember Yo MTV Raps? You
Yep.
remember that? Now, did
Yep.
you see any Puerto Rican rappers up there or any Jamaican rappers up there? Did you see
Nope,
them?
nope. No, and only Jamaican I think went up to Yo MTV Raps, but it might have been what, maybe Super Cat or Mad Lion. That's it.
And what
Um.
was they singing? They were singing reggae music.
Yes, ma'am.
So like when like Heavy D and them came out, cause they were, yeah, I do remember Heavy D on. But the one thing that I would say, there were certain ones that actually embraced where they came from. That whole Madilly D, that is y'all shit. And we were like, oh, that's catchy. And then he was very proud of where his family came from. That's what he heard in his household. So I think around Yo MTV was like when a few of them were like, yeah, we're proud. They acknowledge who started it. You know, and these are the big ponds and going into that era. But I think they weren't. It wasn't like it is now. What you know what I'm saying?
But I'm gonna say this. My bad, Sage. Let me just say this real quick. This is gonna be so quick. It's something that like I don't know if y'all follow this brother, but his name is Harvey. He has a channel called Your World on YouTube, and I would advocate a lot of us to start listening to some of his commentary. But he constantly says this all the time. He says this is a country of thieves, slaves, and opportunists, and he's 100% right, and that is proven. None of these, we know who the slaves are. Everybody else is either a thief or opportunist. So to speak on what Eddie was talking about, they'll never actually admit and just say yes they started it. They'll never do it. They gonna try to keep the lie alive. Go ahead, Sage.
Again, I think this is more of like a circular thing. Where's the Puerto Rican rapper that was born in Puerto Rico that raps or that sounds as talented as Nas sounds? There is none. There's never been one, and there never will be one. If there's a Puerto Rican rapper, most likely he's from America somewhere, if not New York. So again, that means you picked up something from the people in America. You didn't pick up anything from the people on your little island. And I don't know. I think it was Black that asked this question about why they trying to steal it. You have to understand, Puerto Ricans didn't create any form of music at all. They didn't create salsa. They didn't create reggaeton. They didn't create any form of music at all. So you're dealing with the most powerful form of music, which I believe is hip hop, the most powerful form. A lot of people emulate that. A lot of people dress like that. A lot of people talk like hip hop people. A lot of people do that. So for them to try to state claim, even on some 50-50, would give them a win. That's their reasoning for trying to steal the culture of hip hop. But when you again to deal with like someone like a Fat Joe or like a Busta Rhymes, whatever the case is, these people country. What have they added to the world? What has Puerto Rico added to the world as a whole? Let's be real here. What has Jamaica added to the world as a whole? And please do not say reggae because we will break that down too. So again, when you're talking about why are they trying to steal it, that's your answer right there. But as long as one thing I love about what Brother Flex did, a lot of these people, Trixie, Sasa, um, I don't want to name everybody, Shy Rock, who I think was amazing. Um, he immortalized them. So whether they pass on next year, the year after that, whatever, our grandchildren will be able to look back at that movie now and to say, okay, this is a definitive history on what happened. These are the people that were there, not some nigga like Fat Joe who wasn't there. Okay, these are the people that were actually there in the 70s talking about how this thing that they called hip hop became to what it's become. So that's something that cannot be taken away forever for now. These people are actually on the screen talking. Even if you guys miss, Francis, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, you can still go back to Hidden Colors and see her and hear her voice. And that's what I mean by him immortalizing these people now. They can pass on. DJ Hollywood can pass on now. And I'm not saying I want them to. But what I'm saying is we will never lose them now. They'll forever be here telling that story. And with that, I'm going to land.
Yeah, there it is, man. For real, for real. Everybody want to speak? Y'all come up to the stage. I'm about to start getting ready in a minute. Sage, I'm actually coming to your side of town. I gotta go to the WIC. Shit.
What you doing over here?
That's my second hood, homie. I told you, man. I'm all city, man. Yeah, I'm gonna
I
be
ain't
right
mad
on.
at you, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out there today. I'm right on Jefferson Ave. What's that? Jefferson and Evergreen.
I might pull up, to be honest with you. I'll
Yeah,
probably
you
pull
can
up.
pull up, man. It's all
It's too
love. It's
nice.
all
It's too nice
family.
not to. It's too
Yeah, you
nice
can
not
pull up.
to.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can
by the
pull up,
way,
man. Listen,
family,
man.
this
Yeah, you.
motherfucker Racer, let me tell y'all about him in the movie yesterday. This motherfucker was extremely clapping, mad. You know, like you knew this motherfucker was in the house, bro. I love the passion. I love it. I love it because I was trolling him all day. Like throughout the movie, I was trolling Racer. I was like, you see, Puerto Ricans did that. You see, I was trolling him the whole way. So shout out to you, Racer. I know that I was being like extremely annoying with you, but you know it's all love, man. I just wanted to
Nah, it
fuck
was
with
cool,
you
man. I
because
had a great time, bro. I appreciate you, man. I had a great time, bro. And
them
let me
Puerto
All right.
Ricans, bro.
Can I say
I
something?
wanted,
Oh, go ahead. Go
absolutely,
ahead. I'm
no,
a
no, no,
sage.
Queen,
Go ahead. Oh no,
no,
no.
because I
Go ahead.
go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
go, no, 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 ladies first, go ahead, Queen.
No, no, no. I would like for you to go so I can, because what I gotta say is really ain't nothing. Go ahead.
Well, I want to throw this out there, even though I will speak to this woman later on. I got beef, Racer. I got beef with Nikki the God. I did not know she was in the in the building, and she did not say hi. So I don't.
word.
I got yeah. I just seen the unless she didn't take that video. I got because me and you are on her video. If you look at it, I got beef with her because she didn't say hi. She didn't say nothing. What? How in the hell? I don't even know if she's from New York. But how in the hell you gonna come to New York and not say what up to us, man?
Nah,
What the hell going on?
ain't Nikki from Milwaukee? She's
Which
from
is even
Milwaukee, I think.
worse. Because if her ass was in this city and she did not say hi when she was literally sitting the row across from us, bro. Because you can see us. She took a video when Tariq walked in, so you can see us on that video. You know, because I don't know if you know the dudes to your left, Racer. Those were my dudes too. So I had a seat in the middle because we low key didn't want nobody sitting next to us. But the dudes to the left, and obviously the dudes to the right was my dudes. So when Nikki took the video, she panned it and showing Tariq walking in. So me, you, we're all on that video, and she didn't say nothing. What the hell, bro?
I don't know.
How you ain't
We
say
gonna. You
hi?
know, I'm gonna talk to her about that when I
I have to
catch
pull
her.
up on her, bro. What the hell going on, man?
Oh man. Hey, the one thing that I want to say is when we're comparing, all these different cities that actually watched it, I think one thing was clear. This was, I don't want to say church, but you know how at church when they say amen. I mean, I know here in DC we was talking, and we weren't talking during the movie, but certain parts that hit us, we all clapped at the same time. We all was like, yeah, hell yeah. Like it was certain parts of the movie that like really did touch us, and I'm glad that we were able to sit amongst us and watch it. Because a lot of times in movies, we do the same thing in regular movies, and everybody laughs in the movie. But to be able to be around our people and to enjoy it, and it was for us and by us. That was amazing. The spirit in the theater in DC was live. It was really like, and we had Dr. Short actually was there too, so that was a blessing within itself. But I'm telling you, like I love it. I'm so glad that I got a chance to see it, and shout out to FBA Empress because I sat next to her. We were clowning the whole time. But shout out to everybody else that actually did go and support it, and look out for that DVD. And I'm telling you right now, I want to own it. Like, yeah, I'll do the FBA streaming, but for me, I want to own it because I definitely want to pass down this true piece of history so that those that come behind me will really know what it was about. I land.
Yeah, I just appreciate a lot of certain parts of the cinematography, and I guess I could say I'm being biased because he captured so much of my neighborhood. I'm talking about the neighborhood I grew up in, the streets I walked. You get what I'm saying? The blocks I did whatever in. First kiss, whatever. You know what I'm saying? All in that neighborhood. When you see that, especially when you see the train shot, any scenes of them trains, that's my neighborhood. That's all for the most part up and down Westchester Avenue until it makes that turn going in the tunnel on Whitlock Avenue. That's all my neighborhood. I'm from right there off of Westchester, in between the 2 line and the 6 line. You know what I'm saying? Drops you right in the middle of my hood. You can take either train. And then if you're a Harlemite, you could take the 19 bus. This is our connection to Harlem. You could take the 19 bus through Harlem directly into my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Right into 145th Street, where that was the heart of Sugar Hill. So that's why Harlem and the Bronx always has that connection in relations to how Brooklyn has that relation to Queens, especially for you Brooklynites to understand what I'm coming at. So yeah, man, I had a ball. I really appreciate it. I really wish we had more spare time together as a family. Probably get some dinner, take a couple pictures. But you know how the New York lifestyle is. Everybody gotta bust they move. So everybody kind of just did their thing and departed. But nonetheless, shit, man, I had a great time, man. I enjoyed the movie. I'm glad a lot of stuff I've been saying about the Bronx and about our hip hop and about our people up here didn't go in vain, and it got confirmed and solidified with this documentary, man. So I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy, yo.
I was just glad that, I just couldn't believe that they were literally trying to steal our culture right before our eyes. I thought it would be white folks because they have a tendency of stealing our shit. But I was like, not the Jamaicans and the Hispanics coming against us. And I love hip hop. And so it was like, how dare you do that when we all know you were there, but you were just an onlooker. You were there like few in numbers, literally. When we had the block parties and we had the jams, you might see maybe three or four Puerto Ricans there. It was hundreds of black people. The DJ was black. We would bring food out. We would shut the whole block down. We would have barricades, police barricades, and the whole block would have food that your mother, your grandmother, everybody in the community used to bring food out. And those were block parties. So it wasn't no damn Puerto Ricans there. Like, I was like, what in the world? Do y'all really think y'all gonna get away with this? And Busta Rhymes never ever really said he was Jamaican. He was with Leaders of the New School. Then he got with Tribe Called Quest. And so all of a sudden he's talking about blacks and Hispanics? Really? And so Tariq just blew they shit up. He blew it out, and I can't wait to see the DVD. I was hoping he would have something here, but I guess he's not going to do it. But yeah, it was just the audacity. Like, we're still here. With the people what are y'all trying to do? What are y'all trying to pull? Especially New Yorkers. Nah, we take that shit seriously. So yeah, I'm just glad. I wish I could have came. It sounded like everybody had a ball, and I wish I would have met y'all too. But we'll see each other probably I'll probably come to the reparations rally.
Yeah, I'll be down there if you're coming. Go ahead, Mama Flips.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate to them, for the people who live outside of New York and New Jersey, y'all really have to understand how segregated our area is. Like, when I grew up in the 80s, because I was born in 1980, every group had their own area. We didn't mix like that. Like, even where I'm from in Jersey City, you had the black areas, you had the white areas, you had the Hispanic areas, and you had the immigrant areas. It just was what it was. So when they tell y'all up here is multicultural, yes, different people may live in your city, but y'all don't live in the same neighborhoods. That's just what it is up here. So all this mixing with like the Puerto Ricans and all of that, it didn't go down like that because they had their own area. We didn't mix like that with them. So basically what Busta Rhymes did, we're seeing how melanated immigrants who come from Africa and the Caribbean, who come from Africa and the Caribbean, they're immigrants first. He wanted to unite hip hop with the immigrants, not with Black Americans, because he sees himself as an immigrant first, not any connection to us first. What he should have did, and he could have kept it. He could have kept the lie going. He should have just kept the lie. Blacks and Caribbeans created this, and it wouldn't have been none of this shit. It wouldn't have been none of this that we had to say, nah, y'all didn't really do shit. Like, we're gonna get it on record now. But like Black Native said, by trying to completely erase us out of an art that we formed, we're drawing our line in the sand now, and everybody's gonna get mad. But this is how everything is going to be going forward. Whatever we created, and that's just what it is. We don't care who feelings get hurt anymore.
And let me say something real quick, and I'm gonna let y'all go do y'all thing. Um, and on the back end, I always say, and I said this 1,000 times. Been saying this is it clicked in my head that uh, on the low, I actually owe Dr. Cologne, Busta Rhymes, and Fat Joe a motherfucking thank you, because them pulling this shit woke a lot of our brothers and sisters in New York. And I kept saying that too. I said a lot of us up here don't know what the fuck is going on. Debbie D and Shy Rock and all of them, they didn't know they was running around saying this shit. Melly Melon, no, they didn't know they was saying that shit. That's why when the military called and it was brought to their attention, they had no problem laying the record down, because they did not know that these people was lying like this. You get what I'm saying? So, and that actually went for a lot of us from the lineage up here in New York that know what the real deal is. Those that was for the most part outside the reparations movement did not know. You get what I'm saying? So now that they did know, and now that they're aware of that, now they're awakening to the reparations movement. You got Sister Debbie D. She using FBA now. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean by we owe them a thank you, because thank you for waking them up, especially our elders and our pioneers that laid the path. Thank you for waking them up with your bullshit. But go ahead, y'all.
I would say the streets, not just the rapper, excuse me, not just like the people that can just the people that contributed to the culture of hip hop, but the onlookers, the bystanders. Now they're awake, and now they're seeing all the bullshit that's being said about the Jamaicans and the Puerto Ricans. Again, I have uncles and my uncle's friends and some of my father's friends that were there back in the 70s, and they're like, no, that didn't happen. But they're not on Twitter. Family, we have to understand, these older people are not on Twitter. So when they're just now becoming aware of, oh, Jamaicans created hip hop, oh, Puerto Ricans created hip hop. And when they hear that, again, these are people that are unbiased, these are genuine people that don't have no dog in the fight. So when they say no, that's not what happened, that's a lie, they're telling the damn truth. They're not trying to do it for Twitter likes or Instagram like. They're not doing that for that. So again, shout out to, like you said, shout out to all these people that came out saying 50-50 and up rocking, and shout out to dudes, you know what I mean? Because again, you woke up a lot of people, a lot of just people like that were there walking around in the Bronx, you know what I mean? Because they needed to be awake to this shit, they needed the information that's going on from the younger generation. Because if they was to pass away and die off without us getting that information out of them, the Debbie D's of the world, the Shy Rocks of the world, dog, we needed to hear that from them. We needed that from the people that were there, not some nigga with some glasses talking about some, oh, no, that's not what happened. You see here in the 70s, when this guy hit the floor and he spun on his head, he was the first. No, no. We needed the people that were there that first seen Sasa spin on his head or Trixie jump over someone. We needed Trixie or Sasa there speaking on that. And with that, I'm going to land.
I'm really
Look,
waiting
you
for the.
remember, I was gonna say, I was telling my mother about it, and she was like, when the Puerto Ricans do what? So she even know that they weren't part of the culture. Literally, they were there, but they weren't creators. You remember the Nicholas brothers? Because I used to watch them old movies with my mother. You remember the dance moves where they would jump over each other's head and do the splits and come back up? They were what in
The
the
Hines brothers too.
19?
Gregory Hines and his brothers too.
Oh yeah, yeah, and
And his brother rather.
Gregory Hines. Right, you said Gregory Hines and his brother. Did you just say that's who you just said? Gregory Hines? Yeah, I'm just
Yes,
saying
ma'am.
like
Yes, ma'am.
I remember watching What's Happening and Rerun was pop blocking, but Rerun was from Soul Train. So what and then where was the you had maybe what how many Puerto Ricans you seen on Soul Train? Literally, and one Asian lady with the long ass fucking hair. I mean, what are they trying to do? Like, they can't, like, it's just weird. Like, how dare you? And a lot of these people didn't identify as being Caribbean or Hispanic. Nobody knew. So if you were so prideful, if you said that you was part of it, you would have been like, represented. And another thing, Puerto Ricans used to have issues with black people in New York. Literally, they was to jump us. Like they didn't really, they was there, but they didn't fuck with black people like that. We lived amongst them. They were our next door neighbors, but it was like maybe you had one or two that might have been cool, but for the most part, they stuck together and they separated themselves from us in New York.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why they try to use this melting pot bullshit to cover that part of the game that they know once again collectively there was no cohesiveness with us. They just sit there call us like that's how I know all these terms. Call us Moyos, Morenos, Cocolos, what's the other shit? All that shit. This is how I know. This is how I know this shit because that's what they used to call us. And I had to figure this shit out for survival's sake. And I'm pretty sure the rest of you as well that grew up around or close proximity to them. So no, it wasn't no. And then the ones that was actually cool that didn't was even on that type of time usually, but not always. But usually their parents had an issue. So your homeboy might be Puerto Rican and he can be tight with you as hell, but then you always wonder why, like, listen, why I can't come to your crib? And then the man, one time you go to his crib or you knock on his door to come outside, his parents acting funny with you. So they need to cut. They, see that that's the part of the game they don't want to admit because they know just admitting that part, particularly right there, excludes them from being part of the creation. Especially when you're talking about a racial hostile 19 late 60s and early to mid 70s Bronx, New York. Okay, and on top of that, you throw the gang element on top. See what I'm saying? So no. It was no cohesion. Like you said, Sister Native, they used to try to jump you when they had the opportunity. I used to go at it back and forth with a lot of those Puerto Rican cats. And then I had and then I had the same situation like Kaz. The ones that was cool with us, they would get flack from the other Puerto Ricans, like, why you over there fucking with them? And then what I come to understand when we start, as I got older and understood history more, that a lot of them had that black abuela and or even had that black mother or father, and what it was is that amongst their own culture, own culture is so anti-black or anti-melanin, however you want to look at it, that they were outcast from their own people. This is why you had a large collective of Puerto Ricans uh, that didn't even want to speak Spanish. I grew up with a lot of homies like that too. They wasn't trying to speak Spanish. They didn't listen to no Spanish music. They sometimes they even fuck with Spanish food. You get what I'm saying? They strictly wanted to fuck with whoever Black Americans was fucking with. Date Black American women. I got a little Dominican homie right now. I'm about to go meet up. Just like that. He grew over there. He grew up in 40 projects. Now his whole parents is whole Dominicans. They barely speak English. And he speaks fluent Spanish amongst them and all of that shit. But when it comes to his dating and his social life, he don't fuck with other Dominicans. Him and his brother. So, and that's due to once again the racism and their culture that he witnessed firsthand from his parents' experience because he's a very he has a Negroid phenotype. So
Can
does his
you
parents.
speak about Germans? They well, because something about because see, I grew up around Italians, and
Right.
what was they used to call the Puerto Ricans? They used to call them Germans or something
Yeah,
like
the
that. What
Nazis.
is that?
Yeah, now because what it was is that a lot of them would adapt. Once again, they was already on that anti-black shit, but especially during the gangs of the 70s, a lot of them adopted that damn swastika. And when you compare that to the Black American gang, the Black Spades, which was the biggest black gang in the city. The majority of their enemies flew the swastika heavy on their colors. So correlate that with first you're Hispanic, you're we have a gang rivalry. You're flying this Nazi symbolism shit, which we know is a direct shot, particularly at that time at our community. And then even in some instances, what don't get talked about when they talk about the gangs, the gang culture in New York City, there were instances where you had Hispanic gangs linking up with the Italians to fight Black Americans. You get what I'm saying? Even and I'm gonna land on this point. Even with the death of when you hear about a lot of Puerto Ricans like to bring this up about the gang culture in New York. When you hear about the death of Black Benji, and this is what I don't like that they don't bring up. When Black Benji got killed, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe Black Benji was a ghetto brother. But keep in mind he's a Black American. So what happened was is that they had a if I'm not mistaken, they had a meeting with the Spades. This is before the big meeting in the Boys and Girls Club. They had a meeting with the Spades, and they had a meeting with I think the Savage Nomads over there on them steps that takes you like over there to Fat Joe Hood into Forest from my hood off of like 100 and what's that 60? I think that's 167th Street that takes you up, and it's like it's like a real steep stairs, and it's like a makeshift park with like a horseshoe street around the park. And when you cut up through the stairs, it takes you into Fat Joe Hood, and as you keep going down 167, it takes you right into the Forest Projects. On those particular stairs is where they had that meeting at, and Black Benji got killed. Now here's the part they don't talk about. Amongst the Black American community, everybody was trying to figure how come out of all of these Puerto Ricans that was in the mix and everybody's supposed to be rival gangs, how come the black kid got killed? So when that happened, the Spades was ready to go to war. You had 5 percenters that was ready to get down, and then you had Panthers and NOI members that was ready to get down behind that boy dying. So that's what really pushed the gang truce and really forced the hand for them Puerto Ricans to fall back, because not only we going to have the Spades on that ass, we're going to have to deal with the Panthers. Keep in mind, this is 70s, so we got Black Panthers walking around the Bronx. Keep in mind, Tupac Shakur, his mother, Afeni Shakur, was a Black Panther in the Bronx, okay? So this is when people don't like to people like to take shit out of context and put it in today's time frame. No, I'm taking you back to the 70s. So now you got the Black Panthers that's going to be on your ass. You got the NOI that's going to be on your ass. You got the 5 percenters that's going to be on your ass, Puerto Ricans, and then you're going to have to deal with the Spades, the biggest gang in the damn city. You damn right. You better sit down and have that truce and y'all piece that shit out. See how that went? But they don't like to talk about that part of the game. And every time they talk about that game truce, that's the part that always get left out. But go ahead, y'all.
I just don't understand. You talking about all this beef and all that. So how is it that we came together and created this form of music called hip hop if we had such, disdain for each other during this time? I'm just trying to understand that because it doesn't make sense to me. How can you have disdain for people and then, or how could you walk around with Nazi memorabilia and then, create a form of music with these people in camaraderie, 50-50, I want to say. That
Why
doesn't
you
make
think?
sense to me.
I'm gonna tell you why. Why you think Dr. Cologne goes out his way to push the timeline back to 75? So when he pushes the timeline back to 75, it's after the gang truce. The majority of the gang members already had broken up into b-boy crews or DJ crews, or just went into adulthood, and and um and you also he also pushed the timeline back towards the blackout. See, the blackout happened, and if I'm not mistaken, 77. So when the blackout happened, as we saw in the documentary, everybody was able to get equipment. Even Puerto Ricans who couldn't afford the equipment or wouldn't spend the money on the equipment to participate because they wasn't a part of the culture like that. This is why he wants to push the timeline back. So when you push the timeline back to 75, like I said, the majority of those gang members wind up morphing into B-boy or DJ crews anyway. The Puerto Ricans, they started doing they little poetry and bongo bands for the most part that were gang members too. That's what the Ghetto Brothers did. You see, if you go look at videos of them, they turned into basically a rock band. So now when you push the timeline back, it makes it closer to the blackout, which is very important because after the blackout, everybody was able to get their hands on equipment. So being that, like it got explained in the movie, everybody got their hands on that equipment. You had jams on damn near on every block. Everybody got equipment now. It's not something that you got to hobby yourself into. It was like shit. I got the equipment now. We can just jam now. It's a regular thing now. Even for the Puerto Ricans, even if they're not playing hip hop. So when they push that timeline back to 75 and after the gang truce, it eliminates it holds up the melting pot theory. That's why they do that, Sage.
But even in the 80s, because I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, you didn't have Puerto Rican rappers. Like where were these people? Where were the Puerto Rican rap groups? They were breakdancing and doing graffiti, but they were not DJs. I didn't see them.
They're living off of Charlie Chase, right?
No, sis. No, no,
They were
sis. No,
non-existent.
no,
I'm just
no, no.
saying, like, where were like they were there at the jams and block parties, but they weren't on the turntables. They weren't MCs. They weren't there. So I'm just trying to figure out. They came late into the '90s, like Big Pun, Fat Joe. What's the Hispanic rap group? That came in the kind of like the mid to
Beat
late
nuts. You talking about the
'90s.
beat nuts?
Beat Nuts, the Beat Nuts. That was the only Hispanic rap group. So what are we talking about?
They riding off of Crazy Legs.
You said crazy leg.
But wait, I thought that Disco King Mario was half Puerto Rican.
No, Sasa
Yeah, you
was.
see,
Remember? They said Sasa
why
too.
would you have to make up that lie? And then I'm glad you brought that up, Shades. And because that's another part of the game when we was talking about the segregation again. Now you want me to talk about the segregation in the Bronx? The part that Mario, FaZe, and Cool Clyde and all of them's from, that's the only part of the Bronx that we still got. And it was always predominantly Black American on that side. That whole Soundview, Monroe, Bronxdale, Bronx River area, always been like that. It's always, for the most part, been Black Americans. And then when you actually go north towards Westchester, that's when you would get more of the Puerto Ricans. They had their little spot up and down like Westchester between, like, best they say, Morrison and Soundview up to maybe Zariga. And even when you talking about the 70s, keep in mind a lot of whites still lived over on that side. So as you got the Whitestone area, as you got over there to what's that? Not Cozy Corner, Mott Haven and all of that, West Haven and all that shit over there. That still was, it was still Irish and Italian. All the way up to Lehman High School up there, and this actually plays a point to the demographics of the city because the Black Spades were definitely instrumental in causing our freedom of movement in the Bronx in particular. Because as a Black American, like, I couldn't go up the and anybody knows familiar with the Bronx, I couldn't go up to Fordham Road and shop. I couldn't go up there to University Avenue and shop. I couldn't even go to Yankee Stadium and watch a ball game on the West Side over there because that was all by the Grand Course and all of that shit. That was heavily Italian, white, Irish, and all of that, and there was no niggas allowed unless you was over there working. And then a lot of times they only allowed the females to go over there and do the domestic work, which actually caused, if I'm not mistaken, to push those, to open up those racial boundaries. And this is how this happened because under those circumstances, like I said, a lot of our sisters would do the domestic work. From what my grandfather tells me, a couple occasions this happened to where not only in his generation, because gangs in the Bronx go back to the 50s and 40s up here. And my grandfather was a sportsman. And they had the Seven Crowns and whatever. This is actually before the Spades and all of that. So, and even in his generation, but let's take it to the Spades generation. Let's say, Sage, your mother works at is doing domestic work for one of the whiteys on the Grand Concourse. Now you'll have the white boys on her way back to work harass her, and in some cases our sisters were assaulted and sexually assaulted. When that would happen to one of our sisters in our community, the spades was going up there, and niggas is getting their ass whoopers is getting handed out. So a situation happened like that even on Fulton Road. A brother sister was up there going to school, which is where you get that scene from A Bronx Tale at. And my grandmother talks to me about that to this day. How the bus was rerouted around the Italian neighborhood over there, Little Italy up in there, over there by University and Belmont and all Avenue and all of that, because they didn't want Black Americans coming from school to ride the bus through their neighborhood. So they made the bus reroute. City bus, I'm talking about. So when we would get assaulted by people in their community, the black space would get together and go up there and whoop ass. You get what I'm saying? So if you attack one of our sisters this afternoon, the black space will be up at Lehman High School in the morning. They coming up to university and they mobbing everybody Italian, every Golden Guinea they see is getting their ass whooped. And that was their game. They had the Fordham Baldies, the Golden Guineas, I think the Imperials. These are the white gangs in the Bronx. So they help open up those racial boundaries where a a black American go to West Farms, West University or Fordham Road, or a black American go to Parkchester, and Parkchester is literally on the other side of they hood from Bronxdale, but black Americans in the '70s couldn't go up there. Them Golden Guineas running up and down Parkchester up in Westchester, Zariga Avenue, you'll get jumped, you'll get killed going over there. So all of that melting pot shit. This is why, once again, when it comes to the Hispanics, Dr. Cologne particularly loves to push the timeline back, because if you push the timeline back after the gang truce, you could talk all of this melting pot shit. But when you talk to actual members of these gangs, especially the black spades, they'll tell you directly how a lot of the Puerto Ricans they didn't fuck with like that collectively, unless they were Puerto Ricans that, one, masked their identity and you didn't know they were Puerto Rican, or two, they were Puerto Ricans that grew up in the neighborhood and was just down from the get-go. So that's the tale of the tape on that.
When you
My,
speak about the Puerto Ricans joining forces with the Italians, you're absolutely right. Because I grew up in Bensonhurst, and that was all nothing but Italians. And I used to belong to play handball, and I used to be in the tournaments. Puerto Ricans used to play handball too. They would join forces with the Italians when we would go from different communities, and I was the only female that really knew how to play, so I was part of a tournament, and we would bet money, and we would dust their asses. And the Puerto Ricans used to join forces with the Italians because they didn't want to pay up when they fucking lost, and they would join forces with the Italians to jump us, and it was the Puerto Ricans. And they always, like, with our politics, they will always vote against their best interests, even though they lived in your neighborhood, even though they were your next door neighbors, even though they were living in the hood right next door to you. They will always go against the black people as far as politics goes in New York City. And I've been peeped that shit. So when you speaking on it, because I hung in the Bronx a couple of times. 'Cause Brooklyn and the Bronx, we was trying to figure out which borough was the baddest. You had Brooklyn and you had the Bronx. So Queens, they just was, yeah, they was just there. But that's
okay, tell
how
the
it
truth. We
was.
laughed at Queens. At one
Yeah,
point, we
Queens,
laughed
they
at
was
Queens.
They used to be
like.
like, Queens.
So everybody was trying to figure out which borough was the baddest. Was it Brooklyn or was it the Bronx? So a lot of times people from Brooklyn went and go to the Bronx, and Bronx wouldn't come to Brooklyn. Let's keep the shit real, you know. But the Puerto Ricans always were a fucking problem. They was just there in the cut, waiting for their numbers to jump, so then they could try. It's like they was always trying to overthrow us. Always.
But look,
Politics,
the, the
anything.
the Dominicans and the other ones done took them over now. The Puerto Ricans should have fought for non-immigration if they were fucking smart, but the Dominicans and other people done took over
No, because
New
they thought
York.
they was going to sit there and tag team with the Dominicans against us, which they did for a hot second. This is why they was able to push us out of the Bronx. But then they got pushed out. The Dominicans wound up taking over the Bodega Association. The Dominicans wound up taking the delivery cab service. That's why them Puerto Ricans out here complaining now. That and I don't feel sorry for them. I really
Me
don't.
either.
I
I
was
Me
don't
either.
feel
wondering
sorry
what
for
is
them.
the relationship with the Mexicans? Because I was like, so the Puerto Ricans ain't bucking up against the Mexicans that's over there now? Because you know they don't get along. I was always wondering, like, right now, what's that relationship looking
Well,
like?
you talking about in the Bronx?
Yeah, in the Bronx, just because I guess they pushed the Mexicans to the Bronx because the Bronx had more of a larger Hispanic community than Brooklyn.
Well,
That's why our
let me break
accent
it.
was always a little bit. That's why our accents was a little bit different. You
I,
know, so I could tell somebody from the Bronx versus somebody from Brooklyn. Our accents, people from other places wouldn't probably be able to tell the difference. But if you're from New York, you could kind of tell, like
yeah, you
Harlem,
know when somebody's from Brooklyn or the Bronx, because
right?
yeah, our twang is slightly different. Um, but
Right.
to answer your question about these with these migrant shit, a lot of the migrants, believe it or not, they going into their own. They kind of went into their own neighborhoods, and this is what I mean. Black native, a large, the vast majority of those migrants that wind up landing in New York City, they wind up getting dispersed over there in Corona and Elmhurst, over there where they at. You know what I'm saying? On that side of Corona, they over there. That's why they running around. Illegal prostitution is all through the streets, up and down Astoria Avenue, and all of that shit over there. And what's that, Junction Boulevard, or on that side? Uh, and same thing with Bushwick. A lot of them got dispersed through the Mexican and the south of the border side of Bushwick. Now
Mm.
the Bronx, they there, but they kind of scrambled amongst the Dominicans, and the Dominicans is keeping quiet because they know they can be deported. This is why they had to get the Puerto Ricans out the way. See that's why it goes back into your narrative. Yes, the Puerto Ricans will go against their interests to go against us, but then they always bite them in the foot. This is why you got a lot of Puerto Ricans sitting there running to Connecticut, running to Boston, running to Florida right now. Even a lot of them trying to run down there where we at in the Carolinas. I'm surprised you're not starting to see them, because I saw them when I went down there in Charlotte. They trying to go down there now. Everywhere we go, they follow.
You're right, because my aunt, she lives in Jackson Heights in Queens. And that was like a well off, like upper to middle class community. And when I went back out there to visit her, I was like, I think they were like Ecuadorians. I don't know what these people were, but it was because she has a condo that she bought out there, and it was pretty much black and white people. Now that whole strip, all the way to the junction, because you know the junction goes into Brooklyn, nothing but Ecuadorians, Peruvians, and I guess Mexicans. Because I didn't know what these people were. And I was like, where the fuck these people come from? Prostitution, all kind of shit, all up and down that area. All up and down that area.
Yeah, so that's where a lot of them got landed at. And this is also why you don't hear a lot of Black Americans complaining, because they didn't really get thrown over there in Soundview and all of that where Faze and them from. Like I said, that's for the most part that's still Black American over there. And then even those houses around the projects, a lot of Black Americans bought it up the minute they went up, because they put like a lot of new duplex, them little two family homes over there in Soundview, like in the outskirts. And then on top of that, you still got property and all of those homes that sit over there in Shore Haven. That's the name of it. Over there in Shore Haven and Whitestone and all that. That certain Black Americans was able to buy, even though the Puerto Ricans kept us out of that. That's the same thing with City Island. Remember, you couldn't even Puerto Ricans could go up there for a
Yeah, I
long time.
remember City Island. That was
Yeah,
Italians.
they up there now. A lot of it's half Puerto Rican up there now. It's still white folks over there, but there's a lot of Puerto Ricans that live in City Island that bought those houses in City Island because they were cheap because they was getting flooded by the water. So that's why you don't hear Black Americans complaining. And they're out here in Queens. That's where I live at now. You can't dump them in Cambria Heights. You can't dump these. There's nowhere for them to stay. There's nothing but homes over here, and everybody for the most part own their home. So you can't just dump them in an apartment or dump them in the building like they try to do at Harlem and all that. You can't do that. This is why I try to tell our brothers and sisters that don't live in New York that are having to deal with them or starting to see these new fucking ethnicities pop up in their neighborhood. Buy them goddamn properties, buy them empty lots, and buy them goddamn homes. Just buy the shit. I don't give a fuck if it's a goddamn a cesspool on the damn property. Just make sure you own the shit and don't let them get it. That's how you keep your neighborhood your neighborhood. This is the only reason why we still got Cambria, Laurelton, Rosedale, because everybody's is home ownership. And a lot of people pass their homes down to their children. So the Puerto Ricans, they're trying to or the Hispanics in general, they try to force their way in here, but it never worked because they wind up getting uncomfortable because when they realize that they're the only Spanish person on the block for a good minute and they can't flip the demographic, they usually leave. So a lot of these Hispanics that sit here trying to buy these homes and call themselves trying to flip Rosedale, trying to flip Lawton,
I
trying
used
to
to live
flip
in
Springfield.
Rosedale and Laurelton.
So you know it's never no Hispanic, especially '90s early. They
I
walking through
lived
here,
in
but
Laurelton. I have lived in Laurelton in like 2000 and something, and then I moved to Rosedale. I was all the way in the back, like 147, and it was a lot of black immigrants. It was Haitians and black Americans and Jamaicans in Rosedale, and a couple of white folks, but it was majority black.
right, but no Hispanic. You couldn't even think about a Puerto Rican going back there.
Yeah, it
Now
wasn't.
they got a lot of those Indians back there. That's who I'm starting to see they trying to use, and they trying to use it on coastal country. That's why you got that's why Vivek Ramaswamy, he's so popular. That's their new pet Negro. That's their new fetish. Like how they gave the Jamaicans they run, and then they gave the Hispanics they little run. That's their new fetish. These Indians. So they got a lot. They got a lot of them sitting back there now because when I went to the DMV about 2 weeks ago, they was all in there. So they got a lot of them back there now, and the Hispanics are trying to push their way in, but it's too black for them, and they can't change the demographic. So what they usually do, those Hispanics, they wind up going further out into the island and going over there in what's that now over there in Suffolk County with the rest of them Hispanics that's out there. That's what they usually do. Or if not, they'll just pick up and go to Connecticut, go to Boston, or go to Florida somewhere. So
Let me
that's the
let me
tale of the
say
tape.
this: where I'm at now, right? And like you said, they're moving in. Like I live in North Carolina, but I live in like a historical community, right? And you got to cross the railroad tracks. That's the black where the black people live at. It was a house that had been sitting there for about maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years. And right next door is like the little bootleg store, the Arabs. Arabs is down here too, and they buying up the stores. They got the smoke shops and the shit with the glass, like New York. A lot of them are from New York, and they're coming here. And so that house had been vacant for a minute. One day I drive past and I see at least 10 Mexicans sitting in the backyard drinking beer. And I'm like, where the fuck they come from? And like black people are oblivious down here because they're still not here living here, but they work here. They got the road work. When you see them working on like the electrical, like the light poles, all of that is Mexicans. That's all you see. And I'm saying, where the hell they come from? Because that house had been vacant for a minute, and black people like giving them daps and hey man, what's up? And they playing it cool. And I'm like, y'all need to
They
be
don't see it coming.
watching these motherfuckers because every
Facts.
Thursday, every Thursday I work at a place and we give food away, right? It's like, the church or whatever. So every Thursday we have food from different organizations and we pass it out to the black community. Well, last Thursday, I come out there and I see at least 8 or 9 Mexican people. The grandmothers, the little kids, the uncles. And I'm like, oh shit. And black people, we so kind hearted. We don't see an issue with these people coming here. They came with trucks, F-150s. Now this is for people who can't buy food or might be struggling, and that's why we do it. And I'm like, where the fuck these people come from? And so I'm gonna go next week. Once they find out it's some free shit, and it's like vegetables, meat, anything, like it's tables full of all kind of stuff, and they found it. And best to believe is it was about 8 of them that one time. It's gonna be 20 the next time, and then they're gonna zone black people out. But it was basically for the black community, but they then came up in there, and we're still like, well, that we're gonna feed them too, and we're gonna feed their families. And I'm just like, no, this is a no. So this is what they do. This is how they roll. And so we're not careful here. In North Carolina, they already got butcher shops. They got whole malls. They got dentists, they got a bank, they got clothing stores, they got butcher shops. It's like they'll buy the whole fucking mall. And I was in a space and somebody was saying a lot of times they get this money from the cartel. I forgot what space I was in and I was listening to it for them to buy up all these different properties
Black
in
Theta,
North Carolina.
we know how them bodegas do. A lot of illegal shit is involved in those bodegas where we from. You know what I'm saying? The hood knows, so that means the cops know, so that means everybody up in on it. Like RacerBo be saying, these other groups are allowed to have their underground economy that been like, to buy houses and do stuff like that. Well, we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to have our little underground economy supplement everything. Think back to the Italians, the Irish, all those people. We're just not allowed. We're just not allowed to do what they do.
And then on top of that, they don't tell it on each other. That's why I keep trying to tell us, man, that don't snitches should only apply to us.
Facts. No, this only applies to fellow Black Americans.
That's it.
That's it.
When it comes to all these other demographics, I'm telling. You see, this is a recorded
Facts.
space. I'm telling, because
And
they.
you heard what Tyrese said in his broadcast with that U visa shit. They tell on us so they could fucking get citizenship and shit. It's like we fucking so oblivious to what other communities fucking do to us. It's like, nigga, they don't tell each other, but they'll tell on you so they can stay in the country. They don't give a fuck about you. We gotta stop this stupid shit with these other groups.
And I'm a big advocate on treating others how they treat you. So again, when you think about our big time, street pharmacists, a lot of them, such as, brother like Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross, Freeway Rick Ross, you know, Blandone, whatever that dude's name is, snitched him out. So again, you need to treat these people how they treat you. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. To stop trying to be, you know, blacked in America. You know what I mean? Stop trying to be, black Superman. Fuck all that. You need to treat people how they treat you. And if they treat you, janky, like they're talking and they're singing, you need to do the same. We need to learn how to be Karen sometimes. We truly need to learn how to be Karens. We truly need to learn how to call the police on people. We truly need to learn how, to report crimes on people. We need to learn how to do that. People do that to us all the time when we sell water, when we sell cigarettes. They call the police on us all the time. Why is it that we don't do that to them? Alan?
Yeah, you are, and then let me give you an example, Sage, because I used to be a street pharmacist, right? And like I said, and I told y'all about the demographics, but I tell you about again about my neighborhood. It used to be for the most part half Black American, half Puerto Rican, right? Me and my dudes will be just sitting out there just chilling in front of the building or something, talking. You know how young kids is. We might be out there arguing about wrestling, whoever, whatever. the Hispanic neighbors would call the police on us just for being in front of the building. But then you had all of those Hispanic drug dealers right around the corner sitting there selling heroin a mile a minute, and they would never get the police called on them or get their rain or get it rained on their parade. So I know from personal experience that how they get down as far as calling the police. They have absolute, and that goes for all of these other demographics. This is why so much shit goes on, and what they don't do, they'll tell. They tell when they can't cover up no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, and really notice this shit. Like when you see like let's say a meth lab gets busted in the white neighborhood somewhere, then all of a sudden you see the white neighbors come out. Well, yeah, I smelled the funny odor coming in from his house for months. I didn't know what it was. You smelled this funny odor for months, and then that didn't bring you to alarm. Listen to the shit they say when that type of shit happens in their neighborhood, and they interview the people from their neighborhood. They be knowing this shit going on, or they don't tell on each other. So, like I said, that when it comes to me, that no snitching shit only applies to my people. If you ain't my people, I'm telling. I see them Jews come across Linden Boulevard and over here when they be looking at houses and all that shit. I call the police. When they sit there, they will run through here to go meet up over there by that damn cemetery and go pay homage to the rabbi. And they walk through this block. I call the fucking police. When they sit on this block for more than 15 minutes and you ain't over here doing no work, you ain't over here trying to sell something, or you ain't just making your way through, I'm calling the police.
That's actually a crime. That's loitering if you're just standing there for more than 15 minutes and you're not doing anything. So you have every right to call the police for that.
And like RacerBo said, do not sell your house if you live in New York and New Jersey. Like our houses are worth so much now. Like I'm mad as hell that they increased my property tax is gonna go up, but I'm in Jersey, so we already know what that is. Like I just got a letter from my your home insurance. They're valuing our houses in North Jersey where I'm at over $1 million now. So it's like, do not sell these shits. Like, like I had a homegirl. She said her family had a Brooklyn brownstone that they fucking couldn't agree what the fuck to do with it in the 1980s. They sold it to somebody for like 70,000. That brownstone is worth 3 to 4 fucking million. Like what the fuck? Do not sell your motherfucking houses up here if you're up here.
And it's all a plot to move us out the city. That's all. That's what they doing across this country. Every single major city, they are trying to deliberately use immigrants as buffers to push us out of this city. If New York and LA hasn't a big example to the rest of Black American cities across this country, I don't know what the fuck will. I'm glad our brothers and sisters in Chicago is finally starting to understand what the fuck is going on. But the advantage that y'all do have out there is that it's so segregated and the racism is so thick out there in the Midwest that you can see it coming. See, we had a lot of
And that they're
hold on,
still
let me finish my
primarily
flip.
black.
We had a whole bunch of fucking distractions up here with that Pan African and shit. That's what threw us off our game over here. Was that shit? Because we would have caught it if that was in our mindset. Because this city is segregated anyway. But us doing that Pan African shit, and this is why I try to tell brothers and sisters in other places, especially when you're starting to see these Caribbeans pop up, they're gonna throw them in there first, and then the Caribbeans is going to open the back door to Hispanics and those Indians. This is why you got a whole bunch of those Indians over there, Black Native in Rosedale now, because they let them Guyanese go, the Black Guyanese in first, and the Black Trinidadians go over there first, and right behind them they let their little Indian cousins come in, and then when the Indian ones get here, everybody they bring is Indian. They don't even bring the black side no more. So that's the game. And then if you in LA, you should know. If you if
Oh no, the Indians and the blacks don't get along. Like I was married to a Trinidadian. They fucking can't stand each other. But like you said, we'll get used to a Guyanese person who's black, and then the Indians will come along because we're like, oh, he Guyanese like the black Guyanese, but nah, he's not Guyanese like the black Guyanese because you can't go into no Guyanese family and think you're gonna marry one of the fucking Indian Guyanese without no fucking problem. It doesn't work like that.
No, but here's the trick. See, this is why we can't be getting caught up in color and phenotypes and you black like me, that Pan African bullshit. Because you will have, and this is new to a lot of people, and I can see how brothers and sisters on the West Coast and the rest of them get caught up. You will have a whole Indian like Kamala Harris. That's why I keep trying to tell people she's not black at all. In no sense of the word. People keep trying to play off this Jamaican father. He's an Indian too. That's why you need to know history. A large enclave of straight up East Indians went over there into Jamaica, which her father is. And her father and her mother's an East Indian from India. And her father's an East Indian from Jamaica. That's it. She is not a black woman at all. But due to genetics and due to the fact that they have we share African ancestry. When she popped out, it offset each other. So she has the phenotype of what you can consider a black American woman, even though she's not of us at all. And no, and I'm talking about completely not of us, no, not even a distant cousin Jamaican or none of that. Not at all. She's a whole Indian. So being that the fact that her phenotype is the way it is, she was able to play on that and go to Howard and get into the AKAs. So when you have that dynamic coming from Guyana, it's hard to pick up. This is why I said you can't let them in because they're going to open the door for the rest of them. So if you have a woman from Guyana or a woman from Trinidad with the phenotype of a Kamala Harris, but her lineage is straight Indian, what you think she's going to do?
One thing I would add too, though, brother, because I know we're not. I 100% am against Pan Africanism, and I know we're not in support of Pan Africanism. I think that the reason why the older generation supported Pan Africanism is because of people like, the Stokely Carmichaels of the world, the people that were not FBA that spoke up on behalf of FBA. And so they thought that it will be more like that coming over here and more like that coming to America. But they didn't realize that that was one man. And he is not a representative of everybody from, what was he from, Trinidad? He was not a representative from everybody from Trinidad. He represents Stokely Carmichael. So um, that's where I think that whole Pan African shit, you know, that's why I think the older supported Pan Africanism because they thought that they were getting those kind of people over here when they truly wasn't.
Right, but
They were getting,
no, go
the
ahead, finish it. My
motherfuckers we
bad.
encountered today. No, they were getting the motherfuckers that we encountered today. So, and we know what we're dealing with. Hindsight, playing Monday morning quarterback, I can understand, like, yo, fuck this Pan Africanism shit. It's stupid. It's not beneficial at all to us. But back then, they looked at Stokely like, oh, it would be beneficial. So that's why I believe that they supported it.
Okay, now so let me put that in more context because this is why I don't even blame my elders for going that route. You have to understand, and I bring this up all the time. When Stokely Carmichael and his parents, and this goes for Kool Herc, this goes for Farrakhan, this goes for Marcus Garvey when he came in, and to speak on what you said, brother Sage, it wasn't just one man. The collective of them that came here had no choice but to get on code because one, their numbers weren't up. Two, they didn't have the phenotype to amalgamate or be accepted in white society. And three, they had no enclaves of their own. There was no Jamaican neighborhood for Kuwerk to go to when he got here. There was no Jamaican neighborhood existing in the United States when Marcus Garvey got here. There was no Caribbean neighborhood when Madam St. Clair and the rest of them got here. West Indian Archie. This is why when you speak, even these street legends, they were totally on code because there was absolutely no incentive to go against the grain because you couldn't. You couldn't just cart yourself over to the Caribbean neighborhood and say, "Yo, that's the Black American niggas' problem." So now when you so at the time, even as a collective, they had no choice but to get on code with us, especially when you're dealing with the Jim Crow era and pre-civil rights. So what happened was is that the government flipped it and turned it on us and made sure that they vet and screen people after the Immigration Act of 1968 to make sure that there were no more Stokely Carmichaels coming over here, to make sure there were no more Farrakhan's coming over here, to make sure another Marcus Garvey did not touch land on this soil. This is why you do not see nobody on code to the prominence of nobody I name coming from the diaspora after the Immigration Act. So even when so once again, even when we had these conversations, and even before I get to point the fingers at my elders, I have to ask myself what was going on during their time period, and I can't look at it from a delineation scope at the time because even at that time, Caribbeans and the rest of people from the diaspora, they weren't able to delineate because their enclaves didn't exist in this country.
Sad but true. And again, shout out to the the riders that's non FBA, that's riders. I got respect for that. I have nothing but the utmost respect for that. But for you to come to a person's house, and I think Brother Dwan B said this, for you to come to a person's house and disrespect them is the ultimate form of disrespect. So I'm glad that again, the last what has it been now? What, maybe 3 to 4 years? We've not tolerated that. We've set that record straight, and I have nothing but love and respect for the family. But use New York as a template because this is definitely coming to a city near you. With this whole quote unquote migrant situation. Um, Replacing foundationals with people that are not from this soil. It doesn't matter what state you're in, this is coming to a state near you. So like my brother Racer said, use New York as a template instead of pointing fingers to New York. You need to learn from us and what we did not do right and get your shit right. Put the right people in office. Um, Call your people out. Like you said, shout out to Chicago. They're calling out their elected officials for what the fuck has been going on. I have nothing but the utmost respect for that. Nothing but respect. My hat comes off to you guys. If I was there, I'll be out there with you. But we need to do the same out here in New York. Even though we got this fucking police officer as the mayor, whatever that is. Officer Adams is just a puppet, but still, we need to get him up out of
What is his
office
lineage?
because
It's still questionable.
I
I don't
It's
believe.
still,
know.
it's
I
still,
think he's
it's still.
Jamaican.
I think it's yeah. I think he's too. Because the reason why I say it's still questionable, because I did some personal digging on that shit, and I talked and this is how I did my research, right? Because he had mentioned that he was a part of the Seven Crowns. Keep in mind, he's supposed to be from Queens. I know at least three members of the Seven Crowns through my righteous father who finished my 360, and he was tight with those OGs from the Seven Crowns from Queens. So I referred to them and asked them if they knew him, because anybody know about the Seven Crowns, and this goes for Bronx, Brooklyn, or Queens. They are very tight knit. I'm talking about all of the Seven Crowns that are active members to this day. They all keep in touch. I asked three members. They talking about they don't remember him. They don't know him. They don't remember him being around. And when it came to that part of his history and him saying that, well, yeah, I ran with them, but the current members that are still around and still active and are in your age range don't know you. I find that to be a problem. That's why I say he's questionable. But he could still be of the lineage. And the only reason why I'm saying he could possibly still be of the lineage is because his family was here in the 60s before the Immigration Act. He wasn't, his family was in this country, but that still don't mean that he come from our stock.
Well, whether he's
He
of the
looks
lineage or
Jamaican
not,
to
he is
me.
not
He looks
working.
Jamaican. I'm sorry. When I look
Well,
at him, he looks like he could be from Jamaica, and the way what he's doing, and it's not beneficial for Black Americans. So yeah, we definitely need to dig and find out who this man is and what is his lineage, because he doesn't look Black American. I'm sorry. He looks
I don't
like
even
he's
think in my
Jamaican.
personal opinion, he don't even talk like one.
Right. He
Like when you,
sounds like
and
he has
that's
an
why I'm agreeing
accent.
with you. I think he's Jamaican too. I think he's Jamaican too.
has he ever pointed out that he has family in the South?
Now, I heard that through word of mouth. See, I heard somebody say that his family comes from the Carolinas, but I never heard
Okay, then
him
where
say
are they?
that. I never heard
Where
him
are
say
they?
that.
Can he show us them? Can he show us them? Because I can show you my family in the South. Can he show us his family in the South? And if you don't have that, then you're not from this lineage.
I don't believe he can. I don't believe he can.
Then there you go.
Like I said, I'm agreeing with Sister Black Black Native. Just and then I'm pretty sure you can agree, Shay. Just his whole aesthetic. When you really look at him, That's what I'm getting off of him too, as a Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? Not to go off subject, but that's the same thing I get with Negro ass. He strikes me as a Haitian because he act like one. The aesthetic, the way he carry himself, the way he talk, the way he move,
And he gets a little too excited
all of that,
around
all of
Labor
that.
Day. I'm gonna be honest with you. He gets a little too excited around Labor Day. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
100%
all of
honest.
that, bro. All of that. The way, and then they got a certain way they move, a certain way they talk. You like Jamaicans. I'll give you an example. They walk very upright, and them niggas walk damn near like wooden soldiers with their feet damn near kicking into their air and shit. Y'all know that type of Jamaican walk I'm talking about. And then when them niggas turn around, the way they swing their shoulders, they got their own swag.
And
And
then sometimes they be slew footed too. They like to point their feet out like penguins.
right, so you know what I'm talking about. And that's what and then even though you may not have a thick accent. And then even with him, like I'll give you for instance, I could have sworn when you like I don't know if y'all remember. Remember when he was going back and forth with that old white lady? I'm talking about Mayor Adams, and she was and I always tell people that's the best thing to do. And even when it comes to white supremacists, if you want to litmus test two things, use our culture and get them angry. Because when they get angry, it becomes hard for them to code switch, and then they because the passion comes out, and when their passion comes out, they break the code and start going into their natural behaviors and shit. Not only that, they don't use phrases like we do, like that in shit I just used, like behaviors and shit. They don't use that term or that phrase. It's little shit like that. That's what I be talking about. And then even that phrase I just used, that's not New York talk. That come from the South. But go ahead, y'all.
Okay, so it's saying that his both of his parents are from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But again, I mean, I question that because again, they moved up here in the 50s. That's what it says, correct? All right. When you look at New Yorkers today, and you could strictly do a roll call on New Yorkers today, to be honest with you. Most of our families come from the Carolinas, Georgia, or Virginia. They don't really come from Alabama. That's more of like people from the Midwest. People come from, the Alabamas and the Mississippis
Yeah, a
because
lot of people from
that's the
Alabama
way
went
that
to Cali.
that too. That's because the way the trains were. It's a reason why my family's from South Carolina. Racer, your family's from South Carolina.
Yeah, South
There's a
Carolina.
reason why that
My
we're
family
all
is from
from this.
Virginia and North Carolina.
They, there you go. Because of the trains ran a certain way. Now, for his family to have come up here in the 50s and to be from Alabama, I, I, I question that. That's all I'm gonna say. I question, but I have to do more research
But it's
on
also
this
possible
gentleman.
because once again I'm putting it in perspective. And New York City always been a major hub. So even though the vast majority of Black Americans, our lineage goes to the Carolinas and Georgia and Virginia, you did have pockets of, especially in Brooklyn out there, you had a lot of Black Americans out there that came from Mississippi. You had a lot of Black Americans, like one of my homeboys I grew up with, his
No,
family came from,
no, no. You wrong
uh-huh,
about that. Most of the Black Americans that lived in Brooklyn, they people
uh-huh.
came from North
I
Carolina,
didn't say most. I didn't say most.
Virginia,
I
and
said you
South
have a large.
Carolina.
Hold up, sister. You have especially in East New York. You had a large pocket. You did. You had a large pocket of Black Americans that came up here from Mississippi. And the reason why I'm able to tell you this, because keep in mind, our families were still immigrating up to the city from the '80s. We were still coming up here from the South. So also keep that in mind. But you did have a large pocket of brothers that lived in East New York that they lineage goes back to Mississippi. Even in the Bronx, you had a large pocket of brothers that they lineage was going back to not only Mississippi, like one of my homies boys I grew up with, his lineage go back to Kansas. So you do have those unique cases where everybody's lineage didn't, and then even certain pockets in Harlem, a couple of those people they came from New Orleans. So everybody and everybody simply just didn't come from the Carolinas and
But the
Georgia and Virginia.
majority,
But the majority,
majority.
yes, absolutely, yes, ma'am. without a doubt.
But I would say this: if you came up here, like they said, in the 40s and the 50s, there were not planes roaming around America. Most people traveled that way through trains. It would be very difficult for you to go from Alabama to New York via the train in the 40s and the 50s. It would be, honestly, I don't want to say impossible. It would be very difficult. I would like to know what kind of journey did they take to truly get to Brooklyn, Brownsville, as he said that they came to. They came from Alabama to Brownsville. And I would like to know seriously, how did you travel that way? Because back then, when you had people like, Cornelius Vanderbilt that ran the trains and all that shit, that that wasn't necessary. It was possible, but it's not really the travel that blacks really did during that time. We either went straight up, meaning from Alabama, Mississippi up to Chicago, the Carolinas up to New York, or you can go from like Louisiana, Texas. You can go out west. That's why you got people like Tookie Williams that his family was from Louisiana because those trains went out west, usually from like Louisiana, whatever the case is, or Texas, or you know certain parts of the South. Those trains will go out west, but when you're dealing with people from New York, 95%, I would say, are from the Carolinas or Virginia or Georgia or things like that because of the trains.
And,
So I would have to do more research on this
and then
dude.
I'm actually going to add to what Shay's got, and I'm gonna let you go, Miss Adams. Also, keep in mind a large part of the black migration was also military enlistment. Keep that in mind too. A lot of our elders landed in the cities that they landed in due to military enlistment. So sometimes you get stationed. Like when I was doing the paperwork on my own great grandparents, they came from Georgia, but then my great grandfather, he was in Nebraska. He was in, and I'm looking because I got the what they call it, transfer or transport papers in the military, and I'm reading this shit. I'm like, oh shit, he don't want to, and took my great grandmother everywhere he was stationed at. She went. So for a while they lived in Nebraska. For a while they lived in Ohio, and then they wound up landing in Philadelphia. You see what I'm saying? So that also played a large part in our migration. It wasn't just us getting on the train and just moving. We was also in the military service or whatever. A lot of us was trained porters on these trains. A lot of our great grandfathers and such. So just keep that in mind when you talk about that. Go ahead, Miss Adams.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about the aspect of folks from Alabama a little bit. So it could be, now I don't know, I'm not throwing a jacket on this brother's family, but if you were in Alabama and you did something to sass a white man, you would go somewhere where your family wasn't going. So like so when my family when you're right, military and jobs would bring them. If somebody in my family got a job in DC, then everybody went to DC. My grandma came up here, my mother eventually, they all kind of flocked here to DC. um but most likely you have certain people that actually fled and had to go to somewhere where actually, oh, there's a lot of black folks and da da da, but he could be ashamed because there could be something extra out there on his family. Or and then I'm gonna tell you something else. You lay low. If something like that is going down, you lay you lay real low. You don't talk about none of that stuff. You don't put none of that stuff. Like now he's the mayor, and I don't know how he's managed to get this far without people really knowing who he is, except for he was raised like that. And if he was raised with this kind of secrecy, and we don't say because you don't want them to come up here and come get your father, or whatever the case is, that could be that because a lot of folks, you're right, that the whole military thing, the other side, they went out to Cali, ended up in Dago. So and anytime somebody was in one of these places, all of them will flock to that place. So and also I want to say, if not anything nefarious or anything they did to some white folks down south, there's also those that are ashamed. I think they feel like this America being this immigration country where you can come here, and they're more fascinated with these people in their struggle and helping them and doing legislation and shit for them, rather than their old the whole slavery, and they're ashamed of daddy having to pick up trash or was demeaned by some white person, and so they want to forget that. That is something that they're very much ashamed of. I'll give you a case in point. um when Biden was looking for someone to be his running mate and run, it was like, oh, he's gonna pick a black woman. Okay, he's going around, oh, he's gonna pick a black woman. um I wrote a article about Karen Bass. Now, granted, Karen Bass is a person that she does her job. If you lived in California, you know she's really thorough at the job she does. However, she has those ties. She feels bad for the Latinos. She does all. She even married one at some point. She married one, but that chick is a foundational. Her parents come from Texas. Whole family tree, slavery, and all that stuff, but she won't acknowledge that. She won't put that nowhere. You've got to look up under, go through a haystack and find the needle to actually find. But there is some sense of shame that's connected to that, and you got to remember there are so many of us that have been too scared to say I'm black and I'm proud, and they just want to do the whole get along to get to be accepted or whatever. So there are some different factors I don't think that we necessarily talk about when we talk about migration or how people are raised to move in secrecy, and a lot of that has to do with whatever has happened down south. I land. Thank you.
I just want to say, y'all remember David Dinkins, the first black mayor of
Yes,
New York?
ma'am. Yes.
Okay, compare him to Mayor Adams. It's the vibe that Mayor Adams gives off that he is not Black American. I'm sorry. It's man, you could tell David Dinkins was a Black American, literally. By the way it was just his persona, his spirit. It's something about Mayor Adams that's giving me Caribbean vibes, you
You
know.
would think that about Karen Bass though too. Look at how she moves. Look at the way she talks. Look at what she does. She be out there advocating for them Latinos out in Cali. Like now as the mayor, that's what she out there like real talk doing. You can't find. That's what I'm saying. That's the thing. That's the like. I'm trying to say that they have something in common. I'm not saying he is or isn't a Black American, but I need for you all to actually understand the certain pattern, the way that they are moving. If they are not acting like not even a lick of Black American, there is something major behind that. And that is where we need to start exploring that.
Why is it so hard to figure out where this man is from though?
That's why that's what gives me the super red flag with him, because it seems like his whole goddamn his and then this is another thing that brought a red flag with me. His history as far as the school system seems to disappear once you get to high school. Like, because that don't make no sense. Because if you grew up in the city, that means that you should have went to at least first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade here, seventh, eighth. When you look up, for the most part, everything I looked up on this educational history ends at high school. So nigga, from seventh grade or from eighth grade to kindergarten, where was you at? Where was you going to school? Who was
What
your
did
first
he
girlfriend? Shit
so
like
hold
that.
so hold on. Uh was he born in New York? And
And
how old
no,
is he?
according, see, and that's another question. And not as far
No,
as
no,
we
no. He
don't
was
know.
born in New York. He was born in New York. He was born in New
So
York.
then,
Okay.
where did
He was.
Alabama shit come from?
So if he is so
That was where his parents were
Okay,
born.
so
His
his
parents
parents
were
came from
born when they
Alabama.
moved
He
up
was
here.
born in New York. He claims to be a seventh crown from Queens. So why he claims Flatbush, Brooklyn? Because he also said that he grew up in Flatbush too.
well
And then
that
if he
kind
did,
of
what school did he go to?
so that kind of tells me
So
maybe
that's the
y'all
shit
are
I'm talking
looking in
about
the
with him.
wrong place.
Well,
Y'all
Say again.
Flatbush was predominantly Caribbeans. But if his family is from Alabama,
Y'all are looking in the wrong place. Maybe he didn't go to elementary school there. Maybe he went down south to elementary school and then came back to actually live with his parents. There's different dynamics to this whole thing, y'all. Check it out, because there's a lot of Black Americans who disappeared, went somewhere for a little while, and then went back to the big city. So it deserves a real big deep dive. Where was you from kindergarten to eighth grade? If your family came from Tuscaloosa, where? What? I need to know what part of Tuscaloosa. I ain't gonna even hold you. What part of where in Tuscaloosa was your family in? How long were they there? Were they there prior to that? What about your great grandparents on both sides? I need to know.
This is giving the Obama effect.
Right.
This is
There you
this
go.
this is the Obama effect, where when you really start taking a deep dive into who Obama truly is, you would understand that it's so many layers to this man. And so if it's such, I don't understand like the mysteries. If he's the mayor of New York City, you should be able to find his lineage easy.
Yeah, it's something that he don't want to come out. That's what it sounds like. That's just what it sounds like. There's something in his family's background that because the way he's been moving and ducking and dodging the whole lineage thing, there's something going on, something that's happened, and it could damage it, and it could bring up something that they've been running from. Because a person like that moves, they're running from something. There's something they're running from. I don't know what it is.
And why? I mean, do they have a issue? Has anybody found out where his great grandparents are from?
See, that's
That'll
where the story
tell.
gets. See that, or the story gets quiet there
Yeah,
too. That's the shit I'm talking
that'll
about.
tell us everything right there. That's what I
But
was saying.
but that's what I'm saying. That's where the story gets quiet at. See, the story always gets quiet there. With a lot of these motherfuckers, when it gets to anytime it gets to the great grand, like even Kamala Harris, you don't know nothing about no great grandparents of hers. She probably don't even goddamn know. You know what I'm saying? I got it. What's ironic? I got pictures with my great grandmother, my grandmother, and my great great grandmother. So even when people try to talk that slavery shit was far ago, then nobody, because I got a picture with a slave. Me, I'm in a picture with one.
Quick question with you, brother. Um, has he ever mentioned about going to like a family reunion or anything?
Nope,
Has
nope.
Thank
See
you.
what I'm talking
My
about?
point is
Nope. This is why, and I'm glad you brought that up once again. That's why I said, always say, when in doubt, refer to our culture. That's all you got to do. And here you see the shit ain't lining up with him. You don't know nothing about his great grandparents. You don't hear nothing about this nigga going into no family reunion. You know what I'm saying? None of that shit. Even 50, keep in mind, 50 don't even know, didn't really know who his father was, but when he go talk to his grandparents and all of that, and you see that special on his aunties and all of that shit, then they go through his family lineage and start putting the pictures out of his great granduncle, everybody. You know how we get down when you talk to the elders. So why all these people that's supposed to be a part of our community, they fucking backstory when it comes to their family lineage is a big goddamn mystery. And then keep in mind that's something that us as foundationals we usually take pride in. Like we got our brother Marcel in the building. You see, brother Marcel takes great pride in his grandfather and his elders fighting in that war, like I do. So, nigga, why aren't you sitting there championing your elders in the same fashion, Eric Adams? Why aren't you talking about your great grandparents that fought in the war and fought in this war if they did? Something to think about.
I'm sorry. When I first saw Mayor Adams, I automatically thought he was Jamaican, literally. And then it's just something about him, and I'm like, this dude is not Black American, but he say he from Brooklyn, but then the Flatbush area, that's where most of the Caribbeans live. And then, well, I just found out that his family's from Alabama. I just thought the dude was Caribbean. So yeah, I'm gonna
And he
start
still
taking
can
a
be.
deep
And he
dive.
still could be. And he still could be in. And when you even look at them old pictures, Sister Black Native when he was running around doing security for Sharpton. He wore his mustache like them niggas and the haircut and everything. Look at them old pictures of Eric Adams when he had his hair. Google that shit. And that's how them Jamaicans used to rock their shit. That's why when you saying that, you see I'm a whole agreement with you because he gives me the same vibe.
It just seems like he's
Is it
detached, like
7.8?
he's detached from the Black American experience. To me, when I hear him speak, it seems like he doesn't have a connection at all. It's just his vibe, his spirit, everything is telling me this dude not Black American. Like, and I'm not even in New York, but I'm just listening to, looking at him when he does his speeches, and yeah, it's just giving me Caribbean vibes. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna do a search on him. I'm gonna do a search on him and see what I pull up.
Let me see what time I got. Oh,
Yeah,
I still got a little time.
I
Okay, y'all.
send that. I would send that challenge out to anybody. I mean, niggas be up on here doxing people that don't matter. Dox that motherfucker. I want to know exactly, where this dude comes from. He's the mayor of 7.8 million people, so we should know. I would like to know. Where's your family from? Where did you go to school at? Did you play basketball in high school? These are things that need, that we should know because that shapes a man. That shapes a person, not just a man. That shapes a person. So if you're not trying to give out this information, why? My question is now, why are you hiding it? Why are you hiding it? Because clearly you're not working in the agenda that we want you to work on. I mean, you care more about these illegal illegals than you care about the actual citizens. And I would like to know why. I have questions for her.
Yeah, but I'm like, I agree with Sister Black Native. I get the same vibes from this dude. He strikes me as a Jamaican cat. And then it also seems like our suspicion is very definitive with him. I'm not just simply just saying Caribbean because they all have different, let's just say, behavior patterns. And he don't strike me as no Haitian. He don't strike me as no Trinidadian. He don't strike me as no Guyanese. You know what I'm saying? No Cuban, no Virgin Islands nigga, none of that. He do act like a Jamaican. And that's the same vibe I get from him. The same vibe. It's just a black native guy. So, like I said, I agree with her. But anywho,
Well, let me say this too. Even if the dude was Jamaican, it wouldn't matter to me if you were just, pushing forth our agenda. You can be Asian, you can be white, you can be Trump. I don't give a damn. As long as you're pushing forth our agenda, then you're all right in my books. As long as you okay, down with giving us reparations, cash payments, you can be Asian. I don't give a damn. And I would vote for you. But if you're not, then like, hey, I need to know why. And again, we need to take steps now into replacing that man and getting him out of office because he's not working on our agenda. He's working on either someone else's agenda or his own. And with that, I'm alone.
yeah, I agree. But to be honest with you, I think our focus really needs to be more on Kathy Hoku ass because she's the fucking governor. So for the most part, she's pulling a lot of his puppet strings. And don't get me wrong, he's complicit. At the same time, I get it. He needs to, he definitely needs to feel it. But also at the same time, I don't want to always deal with the puppets. I want to deal with the puppet master. I want to deal with these motherfuckers pulling the strings. I like to get in these senators and governors' asses and U.S. representatives and them motherfuckers because they pull a lot of the strings too. But don't get me wrong, local is just as important. Your local municipalities, that's definitely where the rubber meets the road. So your local elections, I think we should be more active in local elections more than anything. Okay, I definitely I feel that way. We should really be concentrating more on these local elections more than the national elections in certain cases. But and I also understand that's also by maybe a state by state, city by city, or local municipality by local municipality basis. But we have to understand, these sheriffs, these magistrates, and these legislators on the local level, they are in direct correlation to what a lot of the problems our people deal with going across this country, and also with compliance from the national government body. So we definitely need to pay attention to local elections too, though. But but yeah, Kathy, you need to put a foot up Kathy Hochul ass too. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just kick Eric Adams' ass, and and then all our things are pointed at him. You get what I'm saying? Because I also know he's being used as a proxy, just like dumbass Brandon Johnson, Cameron Bass, and the rest of them. They're being used as proxies to give black politicians across this country a bad name. I see that part of the game, and this is why I don't necessarily go public. See, then this is why I also say, like, we need to start dealing with a lot of situations, especially when it comes to our politicians, on the way that we criticize them publicly. We have to watch that, because I don't want to sit there and also be joining white supremacy and scrutinizing them to place that stigma that black American politicians can't run a local and national governments, and that's basically what they're trying to do with the finger pointing from Adam, which you see coming from both the left and the right. Same thing happened with Lori Lightfoot out there in Chicago. It wasn't really the majority of the criticism she was getting was from our own party. You get what I'm saying? And I'm also noticing how that she wasn't at all backed by the LGBTQ community, even though she's part of that community. So these are all things that I look at before I decide to engage on criticizing some of our politicians. In particular, if I'm not in that city or state. This is why when it came to Lori Lightfoot, that should have been strictly left to our brothers and sisters in Chicago to make that decision for themselves. But I'm pretty sure if you go talk to a lot of them, they'd rather deal with Lori Lightfoot than a goddamn Brandon Johnson, literally. So, but y'all come on up, man. I see a lot of y'all down there listeners just listening, especially y'all dudes that see like to run y'all mouth. There's a lot of y'all down there like to run y'all mouth, and y'all just sitting there on the mute button, or I mean, well, listener section and all of that. Come on stage and cut it up and build with the brothers and sisters real quick while the space is open. Well, we got the time, because I'm gonna give y'all brothers and sisters till about a quarter to four, and then I'm a boogie because I got things to do. But you already know. And let me know too. I'll shut it down early if all of y'all shopping and y'all chilling or something or whatever, drinking or whatever, or looking for something to get into for the day, or you sitting there holding down home chores or whatever. I can end it early and go on my expedition right now.
I think you touched upon something that was very, very true, brother. When you talked about, I think Kathy Hochul should be public enemy number one for all New Yorkers. Like you said, I don't want to put it all on Eric Adams because he really just controls the five boroughs. But the woman that's going to have to sign everything into legislation, specifically something as important as reparations or like certain bills that's going to pass, is going to be Kathy Hochul. So she is the most powerful New Yorker in the whole state. So yeah, energy needs to be diverted towards her. Absolutely, we need to focus on her and target her. Not necessarily. I'm not saying okay, Twitter. I'm not saying we should target her to harm her. No, but she needs to adhere to our agenda. So again, we need to use our power, our leverage, and vote. We need to put people that we want, in office to run against her, and she cannot have a free ride, bro. We need to take down. We need to stop just yelling at our mayors and take down our governors now. We need to take down people like Hakeem Jeffries. That mother. Hakeem Jeffries is horrible. Okay, he needs to go. And if you notice, a lot of my timeline, I'm always going right. Every time he tweets something, I'm right on his ass. I want him gone, and I'm not talking about dead Twitter. Okay, I want him gone out of office. Okay, Twitter. I want to vote. I want to get to the booth. I want to pull a lever. Twitter. I don't want to hurt anyone. I'm talking about voting his ass the the hell out of here. He needs to go. A lot of these people, they're just puppets, bro, at this point. And not only do we need to replace them with people that adhere to our agenda, we need to get our asses up there and again confront these people. And if they're not doing what we want them to do, then you replace them motherfuckers. In all honesty. And that's how I feel about that. And but like I said, as of right now, Kathy Hochul is the most important person, and you're absolutely right, my brother. Eric Adams is just a puppet. So I don't want to focus on him. Let's worry about the big fish in the room and not just worried about the little turds. And with that, I'm going to land.
No doubt. Go ahead, Miss Edens. Miss Edens, you there?
Oh yeah, no. I'm sorry. It's that look. I don't know why. Every time I try to press the mic, is the little wand is in the way. But I just wanted to give a shout out to you and the family. Thank you for having this space. About the microphone check. I'm glad that those that went to see it and got to just soak up all that knowledge I forgot all about that Mary Mac. That Mary Mac, now I got to go. I've been saying that Mary Mac when I was a kid. Jesus Christ, I didn't know it had any significance. But shout out to Mr. Tyree Nasheed for gatekeeping the culture and keeping it a buck and putting in so much hard work and getting it. I really, really, really can't wait. And I stress this. I cannot wait for A, the DVD to come out. B, I cannot wait until he starts working on the Cali one. I was born in California, and so the different types of music have Juan B break down, the sound, the Cali sound, because I think he did an excellent job in breaking down of the New York hip hop sound and stuff. But I gotta get out of here. But shout out to you, Brother Sage, Black Native, Willie Dynamite, RacerBo. RacerBo, I can't wait to see you again, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm coming down. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be making all of my arrangements this week, and then I'm driving down there. So you gonna see me.
Hey, don't forget the present, right? You know,
No, I got you because I'm gonna need that for myself for the ride. So I got you. I'm gonna make that stop up there. And then come to being that you put it in my head, I might drive up there today. I'm thinking about it. But
that's what's up. That's what's up. All right, y'all have a good day.
all right, what's up, Brian? Go ahead. You got it, homie.
Going on, race appreciation. Peace to everybody. Yeah, so I went to the I guess I'm gonna throw this little slide this little joke in there. I went to the premiere of Microphone Check in Chicago. It was dope. It was all love. And for the record, no, I didn't get my ass beat. Stop. Don't nobody listen to nobody on this app that has an IQ of 2. I'm all good. I'm intact. Ain't nothing happened. My
I could just imagine. I could just imagine who started that old bullshit.
oh, you
We ain't
already
even gonna entertain that. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, who started that? I saw the tweet. What happened, Grimes?
the nigga with the
Hold on. Let
Wait,
me
what
wait.
happened?
Brian. Wait. Before you say anything, wait. Let me put like this. Put like this. Let me think about it. That shit looked like police activity. I'm gonna leave that there. Go ahead, Grimes. You tell your own story.
exactly. That is police activity because it was a damn cop that said that shit. But anyway, but yeah, it was
Brother Grimes, start from the
what's up?
beginning and please let us know what happened. Because a lot of us, including me, is like, wait, what? What happened?
Okay, so all right, so I came in and left out around the same time the Afro Elite did. So so at the end, people was like, let's take pictures or whatever, right? So he caught pictures with his phone and then he uploaded it, Tariq shared it. And then when people saw me on there and they zoomed in on me and then started making painting a narrative that I got dragged at the event or whatever, like what would even possess you to say some dumbass shit like that? So it's a nigga that's been, in fact, the nigga we've already exposed the fact that this nigga was trolling Tariq on Twitter about 8 years ago, and then he said, if you don't stop trolling, I'm gonna block you. And then he blocked that guy. All of a sudden, this same dude pops up and tries to act like he's so pro-black and standing on FBA business and all that bullshit. But we already got the paperwork on this motherfucker.
Name
So
names.
Big Lowski. So
Oh, not Mr. Black owned business. You
black
support
owned
black?
business. I'm the king of black owned business. I can't be dumb if I own a black owned business. So all that big talk he does, he's dumb as hell. If you ever hear me talk about somebody with IQ of 2, it's that nigga from Mobile, Alabama Police Department. So him, man, he got some sidekicks and all of that, with speech impediments and all that shit, basically short bus gang. But aside from all of that, it was a great experience. I love how all the precepts was kicked in the movie. I loved Lord Jamar just bringing things to perspective, and like he really hit it home for me with this one. If y'all Latinos, and I love the fact that they just stood on truth without, there was no slight to them. They said, hey, no disrespect, it's all love, him, Dewan B, and all of them, it's all love. But this is our community created this, and they came in later on, and was a part, and they learned from us. They were students, but still shout out to them. But listen, Lord Jamar was like, if you really identify as black as you claim, then what the fuck is the problem? With the whole, when we say, black people created this, while y'all trying to be on some blacks and Latinos created this 50-50, but you just said that you identify as black, so it should be no issue if you're really black as you claim. So, that type of truth really did it for me, because it's like, and this type of documentary and information is revolutionary. When Tariq started talking about this about 3 years ago or so, and said, before he said, what, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the documentary regarding this, I definitely saw the truth in what he was saying, and he had the receipts and everything. But I kind of thought, I didn't think of something like this being as big as it is back then. But over time, I began to understand, because if we allow them to take credit for something like that, it's the whole thing of, if you give them a inch, they'll take a whole mile. um and so if we do give them, if that does happen, they're going to start claiming that, they're going to start claiming everything else. They're trying to claim all these other genres that, because a lot of things came from us, the South, the struggle, gospel, all of that. Listen, they even trying to give gospel credit to what, Scotland or Ireland or some shit. Like, what the fuck?
The Asians.
The hell? Like, it's like, and then some stupid ass tether. What? He's from one of them. Eric. In fact, this dude done said he from Flatbush one moment. Y'all know that guy Fred or whatever.
Talking about Fred Sanford.
Yeah, like, first of all, you didn't claim about 5 different areas that you from. Flatbush one moment, then you say Haiti, then you say another damn place, Curacao or something. So it's like, you're not even consistent with that. But this motherfucker was like, I bet you $100 right now. If you Google it right now, it's gonna say it's from wherever he was saying it's from. But Google actually, like Wikipedia, actually said it's from wherever it's from. But we know our own stuff. We know that we know where that came from, with gospel, jazz, and all that. Y'all not finna claim shit. They basically trying to colonize our whole damn culture, and that's why we gotta have an honest conversation. I got people fighting me on my own, on my side of spaces, because they're on some, we gotta hold ourselves accountable. Yeah, we can do that, but we still have to call out the fact that when it comes to, listen, y'all saw how Laher Cohen acted when it came to Damon Dash, when he was asked about his relationship with Damon Dash, and how Damon Dash has made him a whole lot of money with Rockefeller and all that, and he was like, "Who the hell is Damon Dash?" Like, that just shows what that community, thinks of you, um, especially when they said out of their own mouths that this was a very profitable, very lucrative business. And yeah, we are putting our own people on and telling them this is very lucrative and you need to get active in this business because it can make you a lot of money. So, so it's like when we let people know, how other people are trying to, make their bread off of us and colonize us, modern day slavery. I don't want to hear there's no agenda when they flat out said what they was doing. So we are the culture. all these styles and everything is from us. We have to make sure that we continue to, stay, excuse me, protecting our stuff and making our money, keeping it amongst ourselves. Because as I land, I do see how powerful this is to the point where I saw the stuff regarding the moves James Cook was making before they offed him. So this is very revolutionary, and this is something very this is a precious jewel that we need to protect amongst ourselves. Peace, y'all.
Okay, I
Peace.
want to address something first with Brother Grimes. I hope he's still up here. Let me explain something. Um, there's nothing more off code than you coming to a black event and trying to get into any type of physical, any type of argument, any type of altercation when there's something that's trying to push our culture or our narrative forward. If you come, I want to repeat, if you come to an event and you have bad intentions, my nigga, there's no worse cooning in my eyes that you can get. This is something that's supposed to be positive about our culture. So if you come there on some bullshit, homie, you deserve whatever comes your way. That's all I'm gonna say.
I agree with you, and I'm gonna say this: the same people, or another person, in fact, the sidekick of the individual that I mentioned, approached me in a bogus way at the end of Tariq's Expo in Dallas. So he made up a false narrative because I hardly had any type of words with him, but he made up a false narrative so he can try to um, prove himself or make himself seem bigger and badder or whatever than he actually is in real life. He made this narrative that I had threatened to slap him. I hardly had a few words with him. And if me and him were in another guy by the name of Dizza space on the same page regarding the narrative of the OMB and that peoplehood shit that they were pushing, and I was basically saying that the peoplehood uh, term basically is brought to you by the same people that gave you birthing persons and all that shit. And and uh, the Solon guy agreed with me and said, I can't disagree with you. You're right. I agree with you. So it's like, if you agree with me, where the fuck did you get? I'm gonna slap the shit out of you if I see you. And again, before that incident and I posted a video of what happened, so that, and the thing is, Kush asked me not to post a video, and I told her, if this nigga get to capping, and if the video goes up, you know what happened. The nigga got the capping literally on the app, not even an hour later. But this is the type of antics that these dudes push, and then because they have no real content, they have to make up stuff. When that brother Joe C or whatever got arrested by the feds, these niggas had a space put in the narrative that I called the cops on dude and caused him to get arrested or whatever. I just met dude at the expo. I didn't know him from Adam, so but like I said, this is the type of stuff that they own, you know what I'm saying? They had to make up stuff to try to remain relevant and all that. Really, at the end of the day, a lot of people don't even fuck with them like that no more. Whoever the few little people that fuck with them heavy last year don't even fuck with them like that now. So, but I just wanted to put that out there because some people was believing this shit. They was like, wait a minute, are they trolling? Or did this happen? Hey, and I was getting messages on the back. Hey, fam, you cool? They said something happened to you. You cool? I'm like, ain't nothing even happened at the. It was all love, the same type of love and awesome experience, FBA experience that you all experienced at you all's locations. Everybody was on the same page. Everybody, was cool. The love was there. Taking pictures. I know people connected. There was small interviews that took place. As, hey, what was your perspective on the movie? All of that, so, and there's a couple people that I knew already that was there, so we took pictures and greeted each other and all that, chopped it up for a few minutes. Like I said, I was there, I came in around the same time as Afro Elite. I already knew him. chopped it up with him, before and after. So, but it was
Yeah,
all
but real
love.
quick, Grimes, before I let Smooth go, before you you land your plane, and maybe I missed this part because I stepped away from the phone real quick. How did it come out that you got into any altercation? Because it seemed because here's one thing, believe it or not, and Sage and a couple of people that was at the New York vet actually kind of, like, how can I say, I kind of got aware of it going to the New York screening, that a lot of us brothers and sisters was keeping in communication with other theaters across the country, and nobody heard anything about anything going wrong with the Chicago premiere. So how did that morph into any to you getting into any type of altercation? Because from when we all understand, all reports coming out of Chicago, everything was smooth.
Yeah, everything was smooth, but it's this guy's determination to be on bullshit. So, so if you remember when I had when I had told Tariq about that young guy that was starting trouble on the app, I said, watch out for this guy, and I don't even think that he's of the lineage. Um, and then I had mentioned that there's another guy that's on off cold stuff. When you're holding whole spaces about people that you don't like or whatever, so and I know that a lot of people may not agree with, bro, that's on my side of Twitter. I understand. But it is off code to have whole spaces where you're dissecting bro's file and all of that, and case and all of that. So that's basically all it is, and it's off code to just make up a blatant lie and say that something happened to a brother at an event where everybody's excited to be there, enjoy themselves amongst like-minded people of the lineage. We're celebrating something so awesome and revolutionary, and just try to just that's some to me that's some low-key hating shit on Tariq. Like, it's not even like, I'm gonna be honest, like, fuck Grimes right now. You have some issue with Tariq if you see an amazing event like that, and you gotta pull something out of your ass like that to try to shit on an experience that everybody was having. It was nothing but, like, there was people like the this B1 FBA that I've been shopping up with for a minute, and we was looking forward to see each other. You gonna be there? Yeah, I got my ticket. You gonna be there? Yeah, I got my ticket. And we there. We seen each other. It was nothing but love. We greeted each other like, just the energy was amazing. So that's just somebody that's miserable, that sucks at life. I'm not gonna say everything about this dude that I personally know, but I just know this person isn't really happy with life, period. Some people just suck at life and they want, misery loves company.
Was it a packed house in Chicago?
Yeah, I think that the last time I looked at because I know Balance had posted the chart like the night before, so maybe some people got it last minute or whatever. So I think it was on like a few seats that probably weren't filled. Mainly the front wasn't filled, so I was able to just go to the front and sit, because I had a seat all the way in the back, and somebody took that one, and I wasn't trying to. I ain't gonna start those stuff over. See my eye. I'll just go all the way to the front. So, but yeah, but it was
Was it a
still
lot of
packed.
Hispanics in the audience in Chicago?
Now I don't recall seeing any Hispanics. I would imagine it to be an influx of that in New York because of the narrative, and since a lot of what's being addressed started there with hip hop. But I don't recall seeing any Hispanics or any white people there. I know one thing: when me and Afro walked in and showed our phone, for the ticket, and the dude was like, dude, let me tell you, like, one of my first favorites is LL, man. Like, it was a whole bunch of others after that. So I would love to join the experience with you all, but I have to work. So I'll catch you all after the movie. So, but yeah, man. The one thing I didn't appreciate, and I had posted this on my page. I think I posted on the thread actually. So you saw how, like, there was like a full poster in a lot of other cities, but it was basically in Chicago. It was basically a eight what was it, an 8.5 by 11 sheet posted on the thing, and that thing was taken off by the time we got out of the movie. So to me, that was some hating ass shit. So
Nah, that's cool. I appreciate you guys. You got any more questions, Sister Black Native? Before I let Smooth do his thing.
I wanted
I
to
guess.
speak on that. Me and Cole, remember I said on the Breakfast Club interview.
what about the Breakfast Club interview?
Say that again, Sister Black Native. You was in the
No, remember Liam? Is that his name? And he had
Leor
did that. Yeah, he had did that Breakfast Club interview, and he was stating how they know that they're promoting degeneracy in hip hop, but he gotta eat and he gotta feed his family.
Yep, that's what it is. That's what they own.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I missed that whole question. Say that one more time. I'm sorry about that. Is she there?
I'm here. I'm about to drive, so you might not hear me clearly. I was speaking about when Pines had mentioned me and Cohen just in this conversation, and I was saying that maybe we should link that up with the Lynn Cohen interview, um, Breakfast Club, when they were questioning him about how they had transformed hip hop and brought the degeneracy to the forefront, and how he said, yeah, he knows all of this, but he got to feed his family. So I was just bringing that up.
Yeah, but that's yeah, that's so when people see all kind of opportunity to benefit off of something that we created, we just got to be, careful. I think that conversations like that need to be had. There are certain people like I even came in this space that was ran by, I guess you choose to, and I asked them like, hey, don't you? They try to paint this narrative because basically they try to deny their controlling of damn near everything. And I'm like, okay, but you have people from your community that have flat out said, this is what they do and to put their people on. You don't, so you're just gonna deny that that happens. You don't think you wouldn't consider that a noble thing to do amongst your people, or even for your family. He was being very disingenuous and he said no. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you on bullshit. But yeah, but they're still trying to hide the fact, even though we had the receipts and we had the very vocal people who they try to shut down in recent years for his honesty on that and his receipts on that. We know what we know, and based on what we know, it's very important for us to make sure that we take charge and take back what is rightfully ours. Which we are doing. And I think that things like movies like this, experiences like this, will help to fuel that and remind us of what we are, where we come from, and what we need to do.
Yeah, Smooth. You got it, kid.
Yeah, I'm glad Grimes brought that up because people did make it seem like that was bigger than what it is, and I talked to the brother. He said ain't nothing happened, but it's kind of some agent shit to do something like that, because all across, I know in Detroit, Chicago, New York, it looked like everybody had a good time, and even L.A. Everybody had a good time, gave it great applause to the movie and stuff like that. And I was just saying, this is the reason why I am the way I am. What I say, I think like we need to know where some of these people are from. If they not from the neighborhood, um, we need to be suspicious of them. It ain't no street shit, but it's just the fact that where do these people come from where they do goofy shit like that? Because we already done been William O'Neill. So we got to be on guard for motherfuckers like that. Because we don't need people setting us up like they did back in the day. So that's why I am the way I am, man. And it when you say for the neighborhood, yeah, people are doing great. They got up out the neighborhood, but at least you know where that person is from. You know where that person family is from. Somebody know that person. So we know it ain't no bullshit there. Then a motherfucker popping up out of nowhere who you don't know, trying to cause chaos in the between everybody in the community and shit like that. But it was great down here in Detroit, man. As I heard in New York and Chicago, man, we had a good time. It was a great movie, and we got to support each other like this all around, man. Because it's so much shit. I need to learn from New York, Chicago, Atlanta, California, and man, we got so much history out here, bruh, and we should be able to support each other if any of us make a documentary. I might want to make a documentary out here in Detroit. I know parts where had the split between Black Americans and Jews. Like it's so much history. It's so much stuff that happened. If we done made it through so many situations, man, and I just think we can support each other all across, man. That'd be dope to learn more about our cities and states and stuff. But I just wanted to throw that up in there.
No doubt, Smooth. Appreciate you. Who's this coming over? Go ahead, Miss G. What's up, Miss G?
Can I just say I saw Smooth and Greg, y'all was looking kind of fly. Give y'all a little shout out.
Appreciate it, sister.
She came up here to choose. That's what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Miss G.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It was good seeing you last night racing. That that documentary was a time. Okay, it was people that which I was talking about earlier. It was funny seeing the sit down and them scrub his phone because they was trying to get in there and bootleg. But I know it was probably I knew when we got there the line was wrapped. The line was all the way down to the end of the street. And then people came late. So when you're going to this movie premiere, one thing that I thought was dope was the fact that it was more like concierge service when you was getting seated. They wanted to keep couples together. They wanted to keep the people that came in groups together. So they went in, made sure it was enough seats. But the thing is, if you come late, how you gonna be expecting to get the movie early? It doesn't make sense. And the first, we actually had tickets to the first show and the second show, but I had some shoe malfunctions, so I had to go back to the old me a new. So we didn't even make it back because we ended up getting some VIP tickets um, to go back in. But and let me tell you how the service was dope as hell because we missed a couple of minutes. They said, you know what, y'all can come back. They gave us VIP tags for our wristbands, and they said you could come back, and they was letting everybody that came back in go first, so you could get a seat if you missed it. If you missed the part, and then of course, those who had purchased tickets, that does take president, over every precedence over everybody else. But I felt like it was very well organized for what it's worth, considering how many people was there, and it was beautiful. Let me tell you how the white boys came up that middle finger. G had to be like 6 years old. He jogged down the block, probably took one for the team. I know somebody got split last night, but it was like a little bit of that. You see some goofy people that came through and did that, but it was a lot of love out there, all over in the theater. The emotion, you can tell we was all on the same accord. When people said certain things, we was clapping. When people, it was like hilarious at certain points when you was listening to them doing their commentating and stuff like that. That was hilarious. But overall, like the messaging in the whoever, if anybody said, oh, I felt like it should have said this, that, and the other. First of all, you can't tell the whole story for hip hop in one damn documentary. What I loved about what Tariq did with this, he made points. He said, why is it this way? What is the real root to this? What started this? And it just, all of those questions that we've been fighting, he just killed it. Now it's our job to take this information, and now this is where the work comes in. Because he did the documentary, and people are like, oh, you just making documentaries. Keep in mind, documentaries are educational sources. It's like books, is oral books and visual books, right? So these digital docu series and things that he's doing, we need to take this out into the streets, and then we're spreading the message. So it's a lot of haters out there, but I think, like, I felt so inspired and empowered with that. I was like, I would have got my sons and my daughter to come up here, because I think that would have been like a huge thing, just having them in there. But they'll be at the rally. But I think it's a good thing for us. I think it should be mandatory this June. Everybody, we should have a sit-in day where people just get room in the library, because it's Black American Music Month. Everybody can rent a library room for like $50 or something. Shit, if you need donations for stuff like that, people on Twitter will donate to causes like that. I know I would. But can actually go across the country and do something so powerful. Have the kids write a paper on a daggone documentary. Pick a person out of there. In this school year, when they do projects and they got to do Black History projects, we need to use those sources. Start using the stuff for the people that we have already recognized, and not the people that this system has told us to recognize. And that's how we can use these documentaries to empower the people and really spread the true message. But I felt good last night. It was great. We ended up going to one of them restaurants. I think it was Hula something. I don't remember. Drinks. It was beautiful, and it was just a great overall time just with our people. So it felt good to be around our folk. Oh, and we saw the person that got.
What? Is she still on?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear me? I'm sorry. It was me. Did y'all? The guy he tried to get. I think the guy that got put out that was filming. That's the guy that was outside, still trying to get back in. We like, how you trying to get back into this shit? Nah, brother, you out.
Hey, Miss G, that was funny as fuck, man. I see that damn picture though.
Hell yeah.
I caught that nigga up. He was looking bad. I feel. Hey,
He
listen.
said
I was
shit.
like, it's not gonna be safe for that nigga to leave that fucking theater. It's not gonna be safe because it was slapping out there. Listen, you got to give New York they props. They man, it was slapping so bad in New York. It was brothers that had to come to Detroit just to watch it who was from New York. That's how crazy it was. Brothers had to come to Detroit to watch that shit to live in New York because they said it was sold out, man. That shit crazy than a motherfucker. But shout out to y'all brothers out there, man, because you know they try to give y'all a bad rap sometimes, like it's some big Milton pot out there, and that just ain't the case. You got some riders out there, bro. They stand strong on their principles and they ain't allowing them to fuck shit. Real talk.
I want to first apologize to everyone that had to go to other states to watch the movie ticket. Excuse me, the movie microphone check because I did have 12 tickets. So I want to apologize to everyone. My apologies.
Go ahead, Empress.
Peace to you, really dynamite and sage. I know y'all been rocking for a few hours. I was at the gym, so I couldn't like participate in the conversation. Miss G, boo to you because I cannot believe you should have went to both shows, Miss G. How Miss G just she's in Baltimore, y'all. She drove straight past DC and went to New York. I get it, I get it. I know y'all was lit in New York. I would have probably came up there too, but I couldn't get away from work these all these weekends. Like like y'all coming to DC for the rally, and I'm like, okay, that's one weekend I'm taking off work, which is also Father's Day weekend. I actually got to work. So I had to, oh my God, these niggas, I had to like put them in a chokehold to just get me off the Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't get off this weekend too. Memorial weekend's a holiday, so that's that. But I am so glad that the family showed up and that y'all represented. But that's crazy that you said that. Whoever just said that people from Detroit was it was sold out and they came. I mean, they came to Detroit because why wouldn't they come to the DC show? You right here. I mean, if it, I don't know how fast it was sold out, but I'm pretty sure it was sold out before Thursday. You know, so we our show was Thursday, but I don't know. That's crazy. I don't know how close Detroit is to New York in comparison to DC, but
There's way no. There's shit. Detroit, 8 hours. It didn't make no sense to drive away out there.
I don't know. But DC was lit,
Unless they just wanted to go.
maybe, because
Right?
that's
Yeah, they might
crazy.
have had. They
Yeah, my
might have.
daughter had a.
Yeah, they might have been on their way out there anyway. Had to been because DC's too close. You know, DC's only 3.5 hours max from here.
Yeah, I was like, that's crazy. But I thought the documentary was amazing. It was really good. I learned a whole lot. I don't know if y'all already talked about the graphics. I thought the graphics were really nice. He did a good job. Like I could see like a child watching that. You know what I'm saying? Like in a classroom, like what Miss G is saying, like that type of setting. Bring all the babies, 8 to 80. Everybody should have been watching that damn documentary. And he was hitting on so many good points. Something that I didn't know in a gym that I took away with. I said this earlier today in G Money Space was the whole Miss Mary Matt story. I didn't know that was a real story. That was crazy. Y'all know I'm a girl, so we did all the little hand games, and I was like, I love that he added that. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to do like a whole, like it made me think about all of our culture. We gotta do a documentary about double dutch. We're gonna do one about the hand games. We're gonna have to like he just like inspired me. Like he all Tariq inspired me to even do my tours that I do now. You know what I'm saying? I love how he just puts ideas in our heads and we could just go with it because we so creative as a people. But yeah, it was dope. I'm glad y'all came through New York. I know it was the shit. I'm so jealous. Even though I went to DC, I was like, and it was lit. Trust me. Me and Miss Edmonds, we was chilling. We sat together. It was absolutely nice. It was nice to be in the movie with other niggas. So when we talking or we saying stuff or cheering and shit, ain't nobody offended. We just around family. It was really, really dope.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad everybody that came out had a good time at the premiere and all of that. Um, I'm gonna
And
give
Miss
it.
Edmonds took my profile picture. If anybody's wondering, Miss Edmonds took that picture of me.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's a nice picture of you.
Thank you.
Anybody, anybody on stage? I'm gonna give y'all. These are my last 5 minutes. I got to rock with y'all because I gotta head out. I got a engagement I'm supposed to be at. So, anybody got their last words, or anybody want to come up to the stage and say something real quick? This the last 5 minutes I could give y'all. So, y'all do your thing. Go ahead, Miss G, and then Grimes. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, I like the fact that how they closed out. They were saying where we need to go, the next direction on things we need to highlight. And one thing he said is the reason why I got started altogether. Because people that try to attach themselves to the culture, they didn't even go through the experience that led. So I think that was a powerful way to close out the documentary because it kind of opened the doors for other people or even to really go down the lane on what got people started. And I would have been in DC. My daughter had an event on that same night for school. So, but that was, I know y'all were lit because I'm always there. I know y'all were lit. So I wish we in Baltimore, if he had one there, we would have been lit there too. But overall, I think everything was good. And thanks again, Racer, for your space and for letting me speak.
No doubt. I appreciate y'all for coming through, man. Y'all, and then y'all listen. If I hold the space, don't thank me, man. Thank yourself. Y'all don't make the space. I mean, I don't make the space. Y'all do. I could be sitting here talking to my damn self. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all for coming through. Go ahead, Grimes.
Appreciate it, yeah, man. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to everybody, that came through and those that, support, whether he was there or not. Everybody that's on code and everything. I wanted to make the point last time regarding when you were addressing the mayors and like so yeah, like Chicago was on Mayor Johnson's ass. That's why he stays having these damn anxiety attacks. Because he's trying to keep things quiet and he's just going ahead babbling, talking points that don't make sense. I understand your concern about the migrants, but we're trying to keep people off the floor when you got niggas that's already on the ground for years and bus stops that you're not looking after. So that talk that you're doing on it makes sense. But I think Mark Carter said that Brandon Johnson is Haitian. So there you go, right there. It's no surprise. We already know how that goes. But yeah, peace to y'all. Appreciate y'all. Love.
All right, no doubt, y'all. I appreciate y'all coming through. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably be doubling back later on this evening, opening up another one, depending on how my day turns out and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But if I don't, man, I'll see y'all later on the Twitter streets or whatever. But I appreciate y'all coming through the space. We definitely had a good build. I definitely appreciate everybody going out to see microphone check. You know what I'm saying? I gotta give a special shout out to all of the pioneers that contributed it, all the commentators, brother Tariq, Dewan B, DJ Cool Clyde, Peter Guns, Debbie D, Shy Rock, Melly Mel, you know what I'm saying, DJ Cool D, the whole BX family, for standing on business. I appreciate y'all around the country for supporting it, you know, and trust what I'm saying. This is very personal and dear to my heart. Uh, Being a Bronx native and coming from the Bronx, man, that coming out of New York City, I don't understand uh for the lineage how much we needed that. Just in the city alone, we needed that like a breath of fresh air, which we got. And not only that, it also caused a new grand awakening for a lot of us that was running around here asleep to the undermining of our people. So I had to give a special shout out to that. So before I close the space. But once again, I appreciate y'all coming through. Like I said, I'll probably throw another joint later on. If y'all around, y'all doing your thing, I hope y'all come through and we chop it up. If not, I just catch y'all later. But I'm here. Everybody have a blessed day. I hope your families are doing well. I hope everybody's in good spirits, everybody healthy, having a productive day. Even if your day is not productive, even if you just, kick it back, cooling, drinking a beer, whatever, just enjoying your kids or doing whatever little chores or I just hope you're having a nice weekend. All right. So y'all enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Once again, that's another holiday that Foundational Black Americans created. So we should be enjoying it to the fullest because it's ours. And I'm gonna see y'all later, man. So peace out and y'all enjoy your day and y'all be blessed. All right.